Chapter 1462. I've already thought it through. If I don't try, she'll be like this forever. If you try, you might still have a chance to survive. He Zhenjiang said. Also, I already know that your medical skills are indeed very good. Now, I can only hope that you can help me. He did not hide the fact that he had sent someone to investigate Sima Yue. Sima Yue was not surprised at all. No one would believe a person who had no idea what was going on. Since Uncle He has already decided, then let's go. Sima Yue said. Previously, He Zhenjiang was worried that Sima Yue would put on airs. After all, he didn't believe her last time and even sent someone to investigate her background. If it was an ordinary person, they probably wouldn't be so willing. Therefore, when he heard Sima Yue's words, he was both excited and ashamed. Please. He brought Sima Yue to his residence. The Sima family was worried and followed them. Yin Lang also went over very consciously. He Zhenjiang asked the others to stay in the courtyard and brought Sima Yue into the house alone. I had them all try, but no one could see anything, he said. Can you tell me the results of your examination? My idea is a little ridiculous before it's confirmed. I'll tell you after I confirm it. Sima Yue did not dare to make any assertions. Do you need me to do anything? He Zhenjiang asked. You don't have to do anything. You can wait outside. Sima Yue said. He was worried about her entering Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness with her divine consciousness. Similarly, she was worried about doing such a dangerous thing when there were outsiders around. He Zhenjiang hesitated for a moment and nodded. All right. Thank you, Uncle He. Thank you for your trust. He Zhenjiang went out, and Sima Yue called out Little Seven. I need your help, Sima Yue said. Yu, what do you want me to do? Little Seven was very happy that she had something to ask of her. The mist that you condense has the effect of restoring one's consciousness. I need you to protect her sea of consciousness as much as possible when I enter her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue said. That's easy. Little Seven agreed. Sima Yue set up 3 barriers consecutively. Firstly, it was to prevent anyone from ambushing her at this moment. That would not only hurt Su Lunyan, but also her. The second reason was to prevent Little Seven's aura from leaking out. When everything was ready, even Little Seven condensed a faint fog that lingered above Su Lunyan's head. All that was left was for Sima Yue's consciousness to enter her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue stood beside the bed and took a deep breath. This was not the first time she had probed into someone else's sea of consciousness, but it was the most careful she had ever been. She knew that her consciousness was stronger than others, so when she probed into someone else's sea of consciousness, she would not be hurt. She didn't care if the others were injured or not, because those people were already half dead. However, it was different this time. She could not only care about herself, she had to take care of Su Lunyan. If her actions were too big and hurt her sea of consciousness, then she would probably never wake up. She condensed her consciousness and entered Su Lunyan's brain from her forehead. Very quickly, she arrived at her sea of consciousness. Just as she guessed, Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness had become a dead sea. There were no movements at all, as if it was silent. Through her divine sense, Little Seven could also see the situation here. Yu, her sea of consciousness is very strange, Little Seven said. Sima Yue walked around and did not feel any aura at all, as if there were no signs of life. However, Su Lunyan was indeed alive. So there should be movements here. However, there was nothing here. Yu, what happened to her? Little Seven asked. Your aura has spread throughout her sea of consciousness. Do you feel anything different? Let me feel. Little Seven finished her sentence and Little Seven's aura floated in Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness. After a while, Little Seven's aura retreated to the side and slowly condensed into her appearance. Yu, I noticed a black area in the depths of her sea of consciousness, Little Seven said. Sima Yue did not feel anything when she checked it previously. Is there anything special there? She asked. I can feel a weak fluctuation from that black thing. Little Seven said. Bring me there to take a look. All right. Sima Yue's consciousness and Little Seven's aura came to the place that Little Seven found. It was in the depths of Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness. They slowly got closer and realized that there was something blocking them outside the black thing. It's this. You look, there's a weak movement inside. It seems like something is trapped inside. Little Seven pointed at the black thing and said, Ghost Clan, Sima Yue said. What? Why did she suddenly mention the Ghost Clan at this time? This black thing has the aura of the Ghost Clan on it, Sima Yue explained. Aura of the Ghost Clan? Why would there be this in her sea of consciousness? Little Seven said in shock. Sima Yue did not answer her because she did not know the answer to this question. She stared at the black thing for a while before saying to Little Seven, Let's go out. After retreating from Su Lunyan's consciousness, Little Seven Sima Yue then opened her eyes. Do you know why she's unconscious? Little Seven asked. It seems like this matter is a little tricky. Sima Yue sighed and kept Little Seven back into the spirit pagoda. She then removed the barrier and opened the door to leave. The people outside had been waiting anxiously for a day and a night, especially He Zhenjiang. He did not expect Sima Yue to take so long to check. After such a long time, if she had been in Lunyan's sea of consciousness, how was Lunyan now? Did she get hurt again? He was getting more and more anxious as he waited outside. He wanted to go in and take a look, but when he saw the barrier that Sima Yue had set up outside, he controlled himself. Even the barrier was set up. It meant that the situation inside was not good. If he harmed the two of them because of his rashness, it would be too late for him to regret. The others in the courtyard were also anxious, but they were more worried about Sima Yue. When they knew that Sima Yue was going to enter Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness, they were all shocked. In this situation, if she was not careful, even she would get hurt. However, they could not stop her and could only hope that she would be fine. When she opened the door, the people outside swarmed in. The Sima family heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that she was fine. He Zhenjiang was also happy when he saw that she was safe. Does this mean that Lunyan is fine too? Yue, have you found the cause? Chapter 1463. Everyone looked at her, waiting for her answer. The doctors and alchemists who lived in the He clan heard the news from somewhere, and all ran over to stay in the courtyard. They didn't believe that a little girl would be able to find the reason for something that even they couldn't solve. They stood at the edge of the courtyard and looked at her, waiting for her to tell them the result. Sima Yue did not expect to see so many people the moment she came out. She frowned subconsciously. Why are there so many people? She was unhappy. The housekeeper behind He Zhenjiang didn't wait for him to speak and said, Master, I'll take them down. He Zhenjiang waved his hand, and the housekeeper immediately went to invite those people out. When the courtyard was quiet again, Sima Yue said to He Zhenjiang, Let's talk inside the house. It's best not to let anyone get close. He Zhenjiang didn't need to say anything. The butler immediately ordered people to isolate the courtyard. The Sima family also came in. He Zhenjiang didn't say anything. Yue, have you found anything? He asked again. Yes. Sima Yue said. Really? This was He Zhenjiang's most emotional moment in the past few years. He grabbed Sima Yue's hand. What happened to Lunyan? Since you've already found out what happened to her, why hasn't she woken up yet? Although I've found out the reason, I haven't saved her yet. Sima Yue said. Why? He Zhenjiang was puzzled. Is it because you're too tired? No. Sima Yue shook her head. Before that, I'd like to ask, how did Aunt He fall into a coma? Under what circumstances did he fall unconscious? He Zhenjiang recalled for a moment and said, At that time, she went out with the servant girls and encountered a sneak attack. By the time I rushed over, those servant girls were all dead. She was the only one who was lucky enough to wait until I arrived because she had a spiritual jade protecting her. Later on, I used a lot of pills and finally healed her injuries, but she ended up like this. So you didn't see the person who hurt her? Sima Yue asked. I really didn't see anything. But I've never given up on the investigation. He Zhenjiang said. Why? Does it have anything to do with his coma? Yes. Sima Yue said. I suspect that the attack had something to do with the Ghost Clan. Ghost Clan? Why is the Ghost Clan involved? Huang Yingying frowned. Because of Sima Luxian. The Sima family had the greatest relationship with the Ghost Clan. Similarly, they didn't want to be involved in the affairs of the ghost clan. He Zhenjiang was also shocked. From the information he found, this had nothing to do with the ghost clan. The reason why Aunt He is unconscious is not because her internal injuries have not healed, but because her soul is held in the depths of her consciousness. Sima Yue said. And the place where her soul is held emits the aura of the ghost clan. How could this be? He Zhenjiang was stunned. Is there any way? There is a way, but it's too risky. Sima Yue said. And I need to make some preparations. At least, her mental strength must be at its best. At this moment, she was already very tired and wasn't suitable to treat Su Lunyan. Is it very troublesome? Huang Yingying asked. It's not easy, Sima Yue said. Aunt He's soul is already very weak. Now that it's imprisoned, it's not that easy to rescue her from the imprisonment. Fortunately, my body is special, so I dare to try. If it's someone else, they would be injured as soon as they get close, not to mention rescuing her soul. Everyone understood that she was referring to the blood of the ghost clan in her body. How did your wife get involved with the ghost clan? Sima Xiuqi asked. No, according to the information we found, it has nothing to do with the ghost clan. It only involves some forces in the inner regions. He Zhenjiang said. Which force? He Zhenjiang hesitated and said, 16th State's Yang family. Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat. Yang family, could it be that Yang Shi's family? Are you sure it's the Yang family? She asked. Based on the current clues, yes. He Zhenjiang said confidently. Could it be that the Yang family is colluding with the ghost clan? Sima Zhiyuan said what everyone was thinking. And this was also very likely. But why would the Yang family want to deal with Aunt He? Sima Yue didn't understand. I don't know about this either. I'm afraid we can only find out when she wakes up. He Zhenjiang finished speaking and looked at the person on the bed guiltily. After so many years, he didn't know that her soul was trapped by the ghost clan. He had let her down. Sima Yue saw He Zhenjiang's gaze and was moved. Uncle He, you don't have to feel guilty. If it wasn't for your persistence, and he wouldn't have been able to hold on until now, she comforted. I think Aunt He has never blamed you. You don't have to blame yourself. Aunt He wouldn't want to see you like this when she wakes up. He Zhenjiang didn't expect to be comforted by a junior, but her sincere gaze didn't make him feel embarrassed at all. Such a considerate junior, no wonder Sima Zhiyuan treasured her so much. When can you get her to wake up? I need to recover my mental strength. I also need to prepare some pills for her to take when she wakes up. So, I still need some time to prepare. Sima Yue said. Whatever you need, I have it in the storeroom. You can just take it directly. All right. Sima Yue didn't stand on ceremony. Since she was treating his wife, she had to bleed a little. The steward brought her to look for the herb she needed. Once they arrived at the storeroom, she then knew that the He family was indeed a wealthy family. The storeroom was huge and the collection was rich. She saw many treasures in the storeroom and thought, did the Yang family want to deal with Su Lunyan because he was too rich? Then she smiled. The collection was considered a lot in her eyes, but it might not be in the eyes of others. The Yang family definitely wouldn't deal with Su Lunyan because of this. She brought the steward to take some herbs. She let the steward take all of them and didn't touch any of them herself. She chose the herbs and came to the room that He Zhenjiang had prepared for her. She refined all the herbs into pills. Then she drank some soul wai and meditated to adjust her mental strength to the best state. She came to Su Lunyan's room. Once He Zhenjiang saw her, he stood up excitedly and said, "Can we begin?" Sima Yue nodded. Just like the previous time, she chased everyone out of the room. She set up a barrier and called Little Seven out. Little Seven, just like the previous time, you have to protect her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue said, there might be a bigger fluctuation. You have to be extremely careful. You don't worry. Little Seven nodded seriously. Since you wanted to save her, she would definitely cooperate. Chapter 1464. Sima Yue nodded at Little Seven and signaled to begin. She then extended her consciousness into Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness again. When she condensed in Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness, Little Seven's figure also appeared beside her. You go. I will protect her sea of consciousness. Little Seven said. Yes. Sima Yue flew towards the depths of her sea of consciousness and stopped when she was close to the black ball. She stretched out her hand to touch the invisible barrier. Even though it was a manifestation of her spiritual consciousness, she could still feel a bone-piercing cold. She frowned and didn't continue. Little Seven asked curiously, Yu, what's wrong? I was wrong. This isn't ghost aura, it's death aura. Sima Yue's expression was solemn. What's the difference? Little Seven didn't understand. Death chi is something that all dead people carry. Ghost chi can only be found in the ghost realm. Sima Yue said. To put it simply, the person who attacked Aunt He was not from the ghost clan, but a ghost left behind in the human realm. How is this possible? Little Seven exclaimed. It is indeed impossible. Sima Yue narrowed her eyes and looked at the black thing with a dangerous gaze. After a person dies, if the soul is strong, it will not dissipate immediately. Instead, it will enter the ghost realm and live there. It was because there was death energy and ghost energy there, able to grant them a second life. Although those souls would not carry the memories of their lives after arriving in the ghost realm, but at the very least he was still alive. Logically speaking, all souls would enter the ghost realm. If some method was used to control the ghosts here, they would not be able to survive because there was no death aura or ghost aura here. Not to mention, he could even cultivate it to the point where he could injure others. Yu, are you sure? Little Seven asked. If this was true, then it was too terrifying. I can still tell the difference between ghost chi and death chi. Sima Yue said. However, no matter if it's the chi of death or the chi of ghost, it still has to bow down to me. Those domineering words did not sound out of place at all. It was as if she was a natural king. She stretched out her right index finger and touched the layer of obstruction. The chi of the ghost clan in her body was transferred into Su Lunyan's body. Usually, when the chi of the ghost clan entered a human's body, it would cause the body's body to resist. But Su Lunyan's soul was imprisoned. There was no reaction at all. However, it didn't mean that there was no harm. Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness was invaded by the ghost aura and her brain fluctuated violently. If it wasn't for Little Seven's protection, her sea of consciousness would have withered instantly. Of Yue you use Yu's chi. To Yue. Yu as you use it. Why of Yu. Yu. Sima Yu transformed her aura into a large net and quickly trapped the death aura. Yu. With a thought, the big net started to close slowly. Following its actions, the chi of death became lesser and lesser. All of it was absorbed by the big net. As the chi of death became lesser, the black color became lighter. Sima Yue could already see the person trapped inside. She kept her chi of ghost only after absorbing the last bit of chi of death. Little Seven did not need to spend too much effort to protect Su Lunyan's mind. She ran to Sima Yu's side. This is her soul. It looks so pale. Little Seven looked at the unconscious soul. As she was injured, her soul was only a faint shadow. It looked as if it would disappear at any time. Why isn't she awake yet? Her soul has been imprisoned for so long, and she is in a deep coma. It won't be easy for her to wake up. Sima Yue said. Then what should we do? Of course we have to wake her up. Sima Yue said. She flew to Su Lunyan's soul and placed her hand in between her eyebrows. A milky white spiritual power was transferred from her fingertip to Su Lunyan's soul. As the white spiritual power flowed throughout her body, her soul started to solidify. Sima Yue was having a hard time. Little Seven, protect her. After Sima Yue finished her sentence, her fingertip shone brightly. Su Lunyan's soul gave out a dazzling light. It was so bright that the two of them had to close their eyes. At the same time, the mind that was as still as the Dead Sea was raging. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. The dazzling light swept across and there were layers of huge waves in the mind. Retreat. After Sima Yue transferred the last bit of energy into Su Lunyan's soul, she pulled Little Seven and wanted to retreat. However, at this moment, her sea of consciousness was already turbulent. A huge wave rushed towards them. Sima Yue saw that she couldn't avoid it. She pushed Little Seven forward and bore the impact of the huge wave alone. Puffed. In the room, Sima Yue spat out a mouthful of blood. As she could not avoid it in time, most of the blood sprayed onto Su Lunyan's clothes. Yu. Little Seven was pushed out by Sima Yue. She was not injured. When she opened her eyes, she saw Sima Yue vomiting blood and falling off the bed. Before she fainted, Sima Yue remembered to remove the barrier. Yu. The people outside the door heard the screams from inside. When they realized that the barrier had been removed, they quickly pushed the door open and entered. Yue. When they entered, they saw Sima Yue being carried by Little Seven. There was still blood at the corner of her mouth. She fainted in Little Seven's arms. Her pale face and frowning eyebrows told of her current situation. Yue. Huang Yingying went forward. When she saw Sima Yue in such a state, she was so anxious that she did not know where to put her hands. How did this happen? Sima Zhiyuan was heartbroken. How did she end up in such a state after saving someone? Let me take a look. Yin Lang kept his usual playful expression. Yes, let him take a look. He knows medicine too. When He Zhenjiang saw that Sima Yue had fainted, he was worried and guilty. After he spoke, he glanced at Su Lunyan who was on the bed. It was fine if he did not look, but once he looked, he saw that her eyes were moving. Lunyan. He ran to the side of the bed and grabbed Su Lunyan's hand. Lunyan, you're awake? His voice attracted the attention of the others, but they only glanced at him once before turning their heads away again. Regardless of whether Su Lunyan was awake or not, they only cared about Sima Yue's condition. Yin Lang checked Sima Yue and said, her consciousness was severely injured and she fainted. She'll be fine after taking some pills and resting. When the Sima family heard this, they were relieved. They carried Sima Yue to the bed at the side. Su Lunyan's eyes moved, but she still did not wake up. He Zhenjiang was so anxious that tears almost fell. How did this happen? He looked at Yin Lang. Did she give you a pill? Yin Lang asked. Yes. She did give me pills. He Zhenjiang took out a milky white pill and fed it to Su Lunyan. Su Lunyan, who could only eat liquid food, actually swallowed the pill this time. After a while, the pair of eyes that had been closed for 5 years finally opened slowly. Chapter 1465. Lunyan. Lunyan. He Zhenjiang grabbed Su Lunyan's hand emotionally. He could not stop his tears from falling when he saw her open her eyes. Zhenjiang. Su Lunyan didn't speak for a long time. She opened her mouth and only let out a weak breath, but there wasn't much sound. Great. You really woke up. I'm not dreaming. He Zhenjiang grabbed her hand and put it on his face. His eyes were full of tenderness and excitement. Su Lunyan smiled and looked around as if she was looking for something. What are you looking at? Asked He Zhenjiang. I think I saw a little girl. She brought me out of that dark place. Su Lunyan said. Yue was the one who woke you up. He Zhenjiang said. She's injured and is lying on the couch. There's really someone. Then she wasn't dreaming. Have a good rest. When you can get up, you will see her. He Zhenjiang comforted. Su Lunyan did not have any strength at this point in time, so she closed her eyes obediently. He Zhenjiang saw that she was resting with her eyes closed. After a while, he stood up and walked over to Sima Yue. Seeing that Sima Yue was still unconscious, he asked, how is she? I've already taken some pills. My condition has stabilized for now, Yin Lang said. After a while, the butler said at the door, Master, the room next door is ready. Because they did not expect Sima Yue to be injured, they did not prepare a room for her. Knowing that she was injured, the butler immediately got someone to tidy up the room without any instructions. Lil Seven carried Sima Yue to another room, and the entire Sima family rushed over. They didn't care about the situation in the other room at all. Sima Yue did not know how long she had been unconscious. When she woke up, she felt a sharp pain in her head. When she moved slightly, she felt as if a tendon in her brain was being pulled. Hiss, she reached out to rub her forehead. She wanted to get up, but she didn't have the strength. You're awake. A gentle voice came from the top of her head. Following that, a beautiful and gentle lady came up and smiled at Sima Yue. Auntie, how are you? Sima Yue was a little surprised that the first person she saw when she woke up was her, so she asked subconsciously. Su Lunyan didn't expect that the first thing Lunyan did when she woke up was to show concern for her. Even though Lunyan looked so uncomfortable, the smile on her face deepened. I've almost recovered. She reached out to help Sima Yue up. It's all thanks to you. If it weren't for you, I would still be in a coma. It's good that you're all right. Sima Yue sat up and took out a pill for herself. I'm fine. You, on the other hand, got hurt because you tried to save me. Su Lunyan said gently with an apologetic tone. Sima Yue felt that Su Lunyan was really beautiful and gentle. She gave off the feeling of a girl from Jiangnan in her previous life, which was rare in this mainland. At this moment Yinlang came in. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, he said, You've been sleeping for 10 days. You're finally awake. Sima Yue rubbed her head and said, Why are you still here? Of course I'm here to take care of you, Yinlang said. You don't know how many good herbs I've wasted while you were in a coma. You're still in pain after so many days. It seems like your good stuff isn't that great either. Sima Yue attacked him mercilessly. However, she was still grateful to him. She was well aware of the severity of her injuries. If he didn't use so many good things, she would be in even more pain now. After all, it was troublesome to injure one's divine sense. Those things were taken from my storage room. When did they become yours? He Zhenjiang, who followed behind, scoffed. He came to Su Lunyan's side and said, Didn't I ask you to rest in the house? Why did you come here? The Sima family left. Of course I had to come over to take a look. Su Lunyan said. Moreover, she's my savior. I'll feel bad if I don't do anything when I see her injured. Did something happen to the Sima family? Sima Yue asked. If it wasn't something, based on Grandma's character, they wouldn't leave her here. He Zhenjiang was silent for a while and said, Something did happen to the Sima family. But it's not very serious. It's just a little dangerous, so I left you here. Sima Yue frowned. His words were obviously contradictory. However, she couldn't do anything in her current state. Where's little Seven? She was still in the house just now. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. Su Lunyan looked around and didn't see little Seven. Sima Yue frowned. Little Seven wouldn't leave her before she woke up. Did something happen to her? Yu. Little Seven ran in from outside. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, she pounced over. Yu, you're finally awake. Sima Yue hugged her back and said, Where did you go? I heard some movement outside just now, so I went out to take a look. It's fine now, little Seven said. Is it Grandpa and the rest? Sima Yue guessed it immediately. It's the Jiang family who came looking for trouble. But it's fine now. Don't worry, little Seven said. Sima Yue responded and didn't ask any more questions. Even little Seven ran over to help. Was the Sima family's matter a small matter? She was the fuse of this matter, but she couldn't do anything. This made her feel a little guilty. Don't think too much. We're still in Cord City. If something really happened, we wouldn't just stand by and watch. Su Lunyan saw through her thoughts and comforted her. Thank you, Aunt He. Now that I'm awake, I won't disturb you. She wanted to go back to the inn to take a look. You want to go back? No matter what happens, I still want to go back. Sima Yue said. No way. Your grandpa handed you over to us when he left. You haven't fully recovered from your injuries. How can we let you leave? If something happens, how do you want me to explain to your grandpa and the rest? Zhenjiang said. Sima Xiuqi and the rest said before they left that they must protect her. So they couldn't let her leave He residence now. You don't worry. Little Seven said. The matter has been resolved. Those people have been sent flying by me. Grandma was worried that you would think too much, so she asked me to come back first. Alright, don't think about it. You should recuperate well. Really? When have I ever lied to you? Little Seven pouted. Sima Yue was still worried. Until Huang Yingying and Sima Luxian came to see her, she really believed that the Sima family was fine now. Chapter 1466. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, Huang Yingying and the rest were relieved. Yue, how do you feel? I'm fine. Sima Yue said. Grandma, what happened to the family? Now that you're here, How are things over there? It was the Jiang family that came to cause trouble, but your great-grandfather brought people to beat them back. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Huang Yingying said indifferently. What you need to do now is to recuperate. Sima Yue nodded and said, my injuries are almost healed. I'll give Aunt He a final checkup in 2 days and then I can leave. All right. Huang Yingying said, we have officially fallen out with the Jiang family, and the family does need people. Your grandfather and the others have already gone back. We'll go back once you've recovered. All right. 2 days later, He Zhenjiang and Su Lunyan were not surprised to know that Sima Yue and the rest were leaving. Yue, Chongzhou and Cord City aren't too far away. If you need us to do anything, just send us a message and we'll bring people over immediately. Su Lunyan grabbed her hand and said affectionately. I will. Sima Yue said. Maybe I'll have to trouble you. If there's anything, just say it. He Zhenjiang held Su Lunyan's waist. You can say that you saved Aunt He's life. We don't have any children, so you are our child. Thank you, Uncle He. Sima Yue was not pretentious. The Sima family's status in the inner circle was a little low. It was good to have more external help. I really envy Lu Xian for having such an outstanding daughter. If our child was still alive, I wonder what she would be like, Su Lunyan said sadly. The dead are gone, Aunt He, don't be too sad. Sima Yue said. Oh right, there's something I forgot to tell you. What? My previous judgment was a little wrong. It wasn't the ghost clan that imprisoned Aunt He's soul. Not a ghost? But didn't you say that it was done by the ghost clan? He Zhenjiang was surprised. If the reason was wrong, how could Su Lunyan be saved? I did sense the aura of death. Sima Yue said. At first, I thought it was ghost chi used by the ghost clan. But when I went to wake Aunt He up, I realized it was just death chi, not ghost chi. What's the difference? Su Lunyan was confused. The ghost clan's ghost chi comes from the ghost realm, while the death chi comes from the dead. Sima Yue said. To put it simply, the ghost aura only exists when a soul goes to the world of spirits and spirits. The one who attacked you was just a dead person. Dead people. How did the dead attack? Generally speaking, after a person dies, their soul has to enter the world of spirits and souls to start anew. If you stay in the human world for any reason, you won't be able to cultivate. Sima Yue explained. But the one who attacked you is already dead, but his soul was left in the human world, and he cultivated very well. Su Lunyan recalled the scene at that time and said, it seems a little strange. Those who attacked me did look like dead people. Their pale faces had no color at all. Are you sure it's a person and not a soul? Sima Yue asked. It's indeed a person. Su Lunyan said with certainty. If it wasn't for the treasure on me that protected my soul at the crucial moment, I think I would have ended up like my maids. Dead people. Sima Yue frowned, not knowing what was going on. Those should be dead bodies. Sima Luxian said, I heard Kaluo say that if a person dies and holds his soul in his body and refines it, he can turn into a dead body. Why did those people do that to the dead body? The combat power of the dead body is stronger than the soul body, and they can still maintain the strength they had when they were alive. Sima Luxian said, but this is called sorcery in the ghost realm. How can someone know this? It seems that Uncle He, you have to be more careful when you investigate. Sima Yue said. I will be careful. He Zhenjiang's face was solemn. If what Sima Yue said was true, then the person he was investigating was someone who knew sorcery. The enemy was in the dark while he was in the light. This was quite dangerous. I think it's better not to let outsiders know about the news of Aunt He waking up for the time being, in case those people are desperate. Sima Yue said. The news of Aunt He waking up hasn't spread out yet, right? It hasn't. In order to ensure your safety, I have sealed off this courtyard. Lunyan hasn't left either. He Zhenjiang said. But those people outside have been waiting for the results of your treatment. I still want to tell them about your medical skills. There's no need for that. It's fine even if they think that my medical skills aren't good. Sima Yue said. Anyway, I don't know them. I don't need them to affirm my medical skills. Your safety is more important now. He Zhenjiang and Su Lunyan were a little moved. At their level, there were very few people who truly cared about them. Uncle He, if you find out anything, can you let me know if it's possible? I'm more interested in this kind of thing, Sima Yue said. All right. You can control the death aura. We might need your help when the time comes, He Zhenjiang said. That's good. Aunt He's body is fine now. Grandma and I will go home first. Take this, remember what I said. Inform us if you need anything, He Zhenjiang reminded. Sima Yue took the token and found that it was the same as Yin Lang's. This is the same as Yin Lang's. With this, you can find me directly, or you can ask for help from the Chu family outside. He Zhenjiang saw through her thoughts and said, Thank you, Uncle He. Sima Yue kept the token and left the He residence with Huang Yingying and Sima Luxian. When she went out, she saw the people who were guarding outside. After seeing her, those people pointed at her, meaning nothing more than that she made such a big commotion before. But the result was the same. Only Yin Su looked at her differently. Sima Yue guessed that it was because the profound moon fruit was already in her hands. They went back to the inn to pick up Musi. Then they saw Yin Lang when they came out. She didn't see him at the He residence before. Now that he appeared, it should be Yin Su who told him. Are you sure you want to go with me? Sima Yue asked. He also knew about the Sima family and Jiang family. If he still followed her at this time, he would inevitably be involved in this matter. I said, before I understand what kind of feelings you are talking about, I will always follow you. Yin Lang was still the same, as if nothing happened here. You said it. Sima Yue looked at him. Then let's go together. Chapter 1467. Chongzhou was one of the biggest cities in Yi County. It was also the city where the Sima family lived. In this city, nearly half of the people were members of the Sima family, or were related to this family. The remaining half had to rely on the Sima family. Therefore, the Sima family had the absolute right to speak here. When Sima Yue and Sima Luxian arrived, they caused a huge commotion. All the people saw Sima Luxian. The genius they were once proud of ended up like this because he got together with the princess of the Ghost clan. Seeing those people pointing at Sima Luxian, Huang Yingying was very angry. She wanted to get angry, but was stopped by Sima Luxian. Mother, those people didn't do anything wrong. I don't care, so don't take it to heart, he advised. These people are all on Sima Tu's side. Seeing that your father and I gave up our rights in the family, they dared to be so brazen. Huang Yingying had a straightforward personality. She was furious when she saw those people. Grandmother, don't be angry. The angrier you are, the happier they are, Sima Yue said. Since those people are so powerful, they must have a way to detoxify their young mistress. My method of suppressing the poison can only suppress it for 2 to 3 months, including the time she was poisoned. Their young miss only has 2 to 3 months left. They are not in a hurry to take Sima Luxi's life. If they want to shout here, then let them. Although she kept smiling, her voice was abnormally cold. Moreover, her voice was clearly not loud, but it spread throughout the entire street, causing those people to stop. No one dared to say another word. Jiang Shui had returned with Sima Luxi a few days earlier. What had happened in Chu City had also spread throughout the city. As soon as they heard that Sima Luxian's daughter refused to treat Miss Shi, the people here were unhappy and waited for them to come back, so that they could embarrass him. Who would have thought that Sima Yue would grab their lifeline the moment she opened her mouth? Currently, only she could cure Sima Luxi's poison. Sima Yue saw that they had quietened down, and the corner of her mouth curled into a sneer. She continued, City Lord Lang, I heard that they came to look for you again. Why don't you give them the antidote pill formula so that they won't pester me when we return? How can that be? Yin Lang directly refused. Since I've already given you the pill formula as the most important condition in exchange, I naturally have to abide by the agreement and can't give it to anyone else. Otherwise, wouldn't I become a person who breaks my promise? When did I ask you not to give it to others? Sima Yue asked. Although you didn't ask for it, I did ask for myself. Yin Lang said seriously. I've always been a man of my word, so I can't tell anyone else about this. Sima Yue stared at Yin Lang and sighed. She did not say anything and looked very helpless. The people who heard their conversation became anxious. It seemed like she was the only one who could save Miss Shi. This was really depressing news. Sima Yue held Sima Luxian's hand, and Sima Luxian patted her hand. Seeing that she had done all these for him, his heart felt very warm. Although he really didn't care about what they said, he felt that it was worth it to have such a considerate daughter. They walked through half of the city and finally arrived at the Sima family. This Sima family's residence was much more imposing than the Yiling continent's Sima family. There were layers of houses that one couldn't see the end of at a glance. The main door was 100 feet wide, and there was a protective array made of gems on it. Even a battle between paragons could not easily damage this door. It's really imposing. Sima Yue stood in front of the door and looked up at the gems on it and exclaimed, "Your Sima family's door is even more imposing than our door." It was Yin Lang's first time seeing the Sima family's door. He didn't expect there to be such a magnificent residence in this state. These were built when our ancestors came here. At that time, the family had just arrived here and was stronger. In order to hide the loss of moving, they built such a door. Huang Yingying explained. This door looks a little old, but the gems on it are just put there not long ago. Yin Lang said. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, "Let's go." Yin Lang touched his nose. He was just telling the truth. The Sima family and the Jiang family had been fighting fiercely recently. In order to make the protective array strong enough to protect the family, the Sima family did change the spirit stones. The news of Sima Luxian and Sima Yoyue's return shook the entire Sima family. Everyone thought they were going to return to the family. They even got the news that they were outside the door. But after waiting for a long time, they didn't see them come in. "Where's young miss?" Sima Ji Yuan waited anxiously at home, so he went out to look for them. However, there was no one outside the door. Sima Yue and Sima Luxian were nowhere to be seen. Young miss said that the Sima family's door is really imposing. But she didn't have an invitation from the Sima family, and didn't bring a visiting card. She won't go in today. She will visit again when she has the chance. The guard replied in a trembling voice. When they heard Sima Yue say, "Let's go," they thought she was going in. But she turned around and left. The few guards were stunned. Then, someone reacted and asked her why she didn't go in. She gave such an answer. Sima Ji Yuan and the people behind him heard Sima Yoyue's words, and the corners of their mouths twitched. She was saying that she wasn't a member of the Sima family, and couldn't enter the Sima family's door casually. This little girl, what is she doing now? Sima Ji Yuan scolded. He asked the guard where she left, and wanted to go look for her. "Don't be anxious." Sima Hishun pulled him back. "Yue has her own thoughts." "What thoughts does she have?" "I finally managed to coax her to the door, but she doesn't want to enter. I have to bring her back. She's not a member of the Sima family. Even if you call her, she won't come back." Sima Hishun said, "If you want her to come in, the most direct way is to acknowledge Lu Xian, and let him enter the family tree again. She will only come back when Lu Xian comes back." She would only be willing to come back when Sima Lu Xian returned to the family. This was something that everyone understood long ago. Sigh. Sima Ji Yuan sighed, then jumped up and said, "I'll go and enter their family tree tomorrow." After speaking, he chased after Sima Yue and the others. "Where are you going now?" Someone called out from behind. "To relax." Sima Ji Yuan left without looking back. She wasn't willing to come home now. Couldn't he go look for her? In order to let her come home, his heart was broken. It was all Jiang Shue's fault. If it wasn't for them poisoning Yue when she was young, why would she not be willing to come back now? Now they even dared to contact the Jiang family to cause trouble. See how he would deal with them later. Chapter 1468. Sima Yue had guessed that Sima Ji Yuan would come looking for her. Seeing his angry face, she giggled and said, "Great-grandfather, didn't we agree to go back once we've settled the things in the past? It's not like we're not going back. Why are you pulling a long face? The news that you sent back said that you would think of a way to make them jump out, but you didn't say that you wouldn't go back even though you're already at your doorstep." Sima Ji Yuan was depressed. He had been so excited just now. "But if I don't stay outside, how can I lure them to make a move?" Sima Yue said. "Everyone knows that as long as I go back, You will protect me from all angles. How would they have the chance to do anything? But this is too risky. Sima Zhiyuan looked at her disapprovingly. Great-grandfather, don't worry. This is your territory. Do you think they can kill me? Sima Yue was not worried at all. Don't worry. Sima Zhiyuan's eyebrows furrowed deeply. Seeing that he couldn't get through to her, he felt very helpless. She was really a stubborn little girl. It seemed like he had no choice but to send more people here. Sima Yue understood what he was thinking, but she really didn't want Sima Luxian, who had no ability to protect himself, to return to a dangerous family. If he left to look for the divine medicine, and Huang Yingying and the others were careless, it would be too late for him to regret. Therefore, she had to get rid of the danger before she returned. The old ancestor. It's almost done. That's good. For the rest, we just have to follow the plan. All right. In a courtyard near the main house of the Sima family, Jiang Shui threw the teacup in her hand onto the floor. The crisp sound made everyone in the room tremble slightly. That little b*tch, she actually dares to come here. Jiang Shui scolded. Mother, she fell into a coma again. Let's go find that little slut again and let her detoxify Sheer. Miao Shihua said. What's the point of looking for her now? If she was willing, she would have done it long ago. Jiang Shui said angrily. Are we just going to watch she die like this? Mother, Sheer is the hope of our bloodline. Shut up. You only know how to cry all day long. What is this? Jiang Shui shouted. Miao Shihua wanted to cry, but she didn't dare to. She looked weak and incompetent. Where was the arrogant and domineering appearance that he usually had outside? Then what about Sheer? Jiang Shui looked at her with disdain. I just said that I won't beg her. It's not like I won't let her cure Sheer. Mother, you want to? Miao Shihua looked at Jiang Shui in surprise. But didn't Uncle Hishun not allow us to touch her? The Sima family doesn't even put us in their eyes, so why should we listen to them? They were heartless to us, so they can't blame us for being unjust. Jiang Shui's eyes flashed with determination. Mother, do you want to destroy the Sima family? I don't think so. However, Sima Zhiyuan has been the head of the family for long enough. It's time for a change. Miao Shihua's eyes flashed with joy. Jiang Shui would definitely not become the head of the household. Wouldn't that mean that the choice of the head of the household would be her husband, Sima too? Wouldn't she be the wife of the head of the household? As long as they became the head of the household, couldn't they let Sima Yue cure Sheer's poison? Mother, do you need us to do anything? Forget about you. With your current appearance, you will only cause trouble no matter what you do. Jiang Shui didn't give her any face at all. The Jiang family and I will arrange this matter. Just behave yourself and don't give yourself away. You can leave. Yes. Miao Shihua was dissatisfied with Jiang Shui, but she didn't dare to show it. She bowed to Jiang Shui and then left. No one saw the deep hatred in her lowered eyes. An old woman had always beaten and scolded her, and wouldn't give her any face in front of the servants. When she became the wife of the head of the household, she must return all the grievances she had suffered over the years to her. She returned to her courtyard and saw her daughter lying on the bed sleeping again. Her heart ached. Madam, what did the old madam say? The maid who was wiping Sima Luxi's hands saw Miao Shihua return and got up to ask. This maid was called Miao Chao. She was Miao Shihua's dowry maid and later became Sima Luxi's wet nurse. Therefore, she still had some status in front of Miao Shihua. Mother didn't allow me to beg her. Miao Shihua sat on the bed. She said she has her own plans and doesn't allow me to touch her. What about Miss? Miao Chao said worriedly. Mrs. body is getting worse and worse. Although she is sleeping, the vitality in her body has obviously decreased. If this continues, I'm afraid that even if the poison is cured, her body won't be able to recover. Miao Shihua reached out and stroked her daughter. How could I not know? It's all my fault for not believing that little bitch at that time. Otherwise, Sheer wouldn't have suffered like this. Madam, don't blame yourself. You didn't pay attention to the situation at that time. Miao Chao explained. After all, those things happened back then. If she knew or hated us, she would take the opportunity to take Mrs. Life. That's expected. But everyone else's poison has been cured. Now only she, is still like this. Miao Shihua said. Originally, there was still a glimmer of hope. But mother killed her, making her unwilling to cure Shi. Old madam has a bad temper. We shouldn't have let her know about this. Miao Chao sighed. If it weren't for her, things wouldn't have developed like this. At that time, if we didn't tell the family, how could that little bitch agree to cure those people? Miao Shihua said. I just didn't expect things to develop like this. Then what should we do now? Miss can't hold on for much longer. Miao Chao said with heartache. She asked me to wait. But where do I have time to wait now? Miao Shihua said. No, I have to deal with this matter first. Since it's already like this, it's better to catch her. When the time comes, there will be a way for her to cure Miss. Miao Chao said. But the family had sent a lot of people to protect that little bitch. Mother didn't allow us to touch her. Madam, you forget that we have our own strength. Miao Chao said. Although our Miao family can't be compared to the Sima family, we can still deal with those guards. It's just that Miss can't wait anymore. Miao Shihua looked at her daughter with heartache. For we can only do this. Chao, go and contact the Miao family's strength here. Bring that little bitch to me in 2 days. Yes, madam. At night, Sima Yue heard movement outside and opened her eyes. It was a bit beyond her expectations that they would find her so quickly. Chapter 1469. Little Seven was lying on the table, and sat up when she heard the commotion outside. Yu, are they from the Jiang family? She looked at Sima Yue with bright eyes. Sima Yue sat up and said, I don't know, but they are guests. Since they are here, let's ask them to stay. Sima Yue called out all her beasts. Little Seven alone was not enough in the inner region. Although Ye Guang and the others were weaker, 2 of them were enough to fight against one of those people. Sima Yue had set up an enchantment before that allowed people to enter, but not leave. It could also isolate the sound of the battle. So, even though the small courtyard was overturned, no one could hear anything from outside. Little Seven and the others caught all of them. There were more than 20 monarch ranked high level. Yu, these people don't seem to be from the Jiang family. Little Seven grabbed a person's hair and lifted his head. She searched his body with her other hand, but didn't find anything that could identify him. Hua stepped forward and pulled the person's sleeve. She saw a pattern embroidered on it. There's a pattern here. Miao family. Sima Luxian, who came out from another house, recognized the pattern. These people are from the Miao family. Miao family? Miao Shihua? Sima Yue was a little surprised. It seems that Sima Luxi's situation made them lose their composure. I thought they would be from the Jiang family. Little Seven threw away the hair in her hand. The person fell to the ground and made a crisp sound. It doesn't matter if they are not from the Jiang family. The Miao family can still be used. Sima Yue said. Lock these people up. They will be useful in 2 days. Ye Guang and the others took those people down. Sima Luxian walked over and said, although the Miao family is not as good as the Jiang family and Sima family, they are still a third-rate force. But these people should be the dowry of Miao Shihua. Miao Shihua and Jiang Shui are on the same boat. It's the same whether the Miao family or the Jiang family comes. Sima Yue said. When I discussed with my great-grandfather, we expected that the Jiang family would wait a few days before making a move. Our plan will be delayed for a few days. Now we can catch Jiang Shui off guard. According to their plan, Jiang Shui would let the Jiang family deal with her. That would be the time to shed all pretense of cordiality with Jiang Shui. However, at that time, Jiang Shui would also be prepared. Now that they had this, they also had a reason. The next morning, Sima Yue came with her men. She threw him in front of the Sima family's gate, which immediately attracted a lot of people. Go and tell the Sima family head and Miao Shihua to come out and get them. Sima Yue said to the guard. The guard looked at Sima Yue. Although he did not know what was wrong with her, he followed the orders of the head of the family to report her arrival immediately. Very quickly, Sima Zhiyuan and the others rushed over. When Miao Shihua saw the people tied up on the ground, her body couldn't help but tremble. She had already guessed that those people had not returned last night. However, he did not expect Sima Yue to come to his door so soon. Yue, what's wrong? Sima Ji Yuan's eyes narrowed when he saw those black-robed men. Did someone secretly hurt her? However, the guard did not send back any news. Great-grandfather, I'm here to settle the score with Miao Shihua. Sima Yue said. I just came to Chongzhou yesterday and was assassinated at night. I think I have the right to ask for an explanation. These people are? The Miao family. Ye Guang stepped forward and tore off a person's sleeve violently, revealing the pattern on his forearm. Seeing that pattern, Sima Ji Yuan was irritable and shouted at Miao Shihua. You actually sent people to kill Yue? Did you turn a deaf ear to my words? Sima Ji Yuan was really angry. It was fine that Jiang Shui relied on the Jiang family, but this Miao Shihua actually came out to cause trouble for him. After messing up the plan to deal with the Jiang family, they had to redeploy. I didn't want to kill her. I just asked people to invite her to treat Er's illness. Miao Shihua retorted. Do you need so many people to invite me to treat her illness? Sima Yue snorted coldly. Previously, you tried to kill me because you failed to threaten me. If it wasn't for my grandparents who risked their lives to protect me, I would have lost my life long ago. Now that you've sent so many people, I'm afraid it's not as simple as inviting me. Great-grandfather, don't be biased towards her. I must ask for an explanation for what happened last night. What do you want? Of course, a life for a life, a debt of blood for blood, Sima Yue said. You dare. Miao Shihua shouted. Why wouldn't I dare? Sima Yue laughed coldly. You dare to send people to kill me, I will naturally take revenge for myself. This is the Sima family, you can't do as you wish. This is outside the Sima family, my matters are not up to the Sima family to meddle in. Today, even if I want your life, the Sima family won't dare to say anything. How arrogant. Sima Tu and Jiang Shui rushed over when they heard the news. They snorted coldly. Sima Yue, if you want to return to the family, I advise you not to be too arrogant. Someone shouted. Sima Yue glanced at the person who spoke. She didn't know him and didn't care. Mier, she ordered faintly. Everyone felt their vision blur. They didn't even see how Mier appeared and how he caught Miao Shihua. When he stopped, Miao Shihua had already been caught and brought to Sima Yue's side. Mother! The man who spoke just now exclaimed in shock. Ugh! Miao Shihua's throat was choked. Her hands instinctively grabbed Mier's hands. Let her go. Sima Tu saw his wife being caught and immediately attacked Mier. One couldn't tell that he was an infatuated person. Little Seven quickly went up and didn't let him get close to Mier and the rest. Sima Tu didn't walk the path of body refinement. His body wasn't very strong. When he fought with Little Seven, she caught him in 2 rounds and brought him to Miao Shihua's side. His throat was also choked. As long as she used a little more strength, he would die. Sima Yue, how dare you? Jiang Shui shouted. When Miao Shihua was caught at first, she didn't plan to show up. This stupid woman, she had already warned her not to act rashly. She didn't expect her to forget her words, and even cause trouble for herself. This kind of person who couldn't do anything but spoiled things. If she died, then so be it. However, she didn't expect Sima Tu to be caught too. This was her precious son. She couldn't help but care. Old witch, why wouldn't I dare? Sima Yue looked at Jiang Shui. I've never been soft-hearted to people who want to kill me. They came looking for me. They can't blame me. After saying that, she wanted to attack Mier and Little Seven. You're courting death. Jiang Shui quickly condensed her spiritual energy and attacked Sima Yue. Last time, Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying protected her. This time, there was no one by her side. Let's see how she could escape. Chapter 1470. Sima Yue stood rooted to the ground as someone moved at that moment. Bang! The spiritual power was deflected halfway, and finally landed in a place where there was no one, smashing a huge hole in the street in front. Jiang Shui saw Sima Ji Yuan standing in front of Sima Yue and said with a dark expression, What do you mean by this? I should be the one asking you what you mean. Sima Ji Yuan shouted. You dare to kill my granddaughter? She wants to kill my son. Jiang Shui shouted. That's because your son was courting death. Sima Ji Yuan, don't be too biased. This disciple is a member of the Sima family. Jiang Shui said. Are you sure you want to attack your own family for an outsider? They were the ones who asked for it. Sima Ji Yuan snorted coldly. Since they dared to lay their hands on others, they should have been prepared to be killed by others. He's my son, who dares to touch him? Jiang Shui shouted. You better let her go, or else. Otherwise what? Sima Ji Yuan interrupted her. Do you really think that your plans will succeed? Jiang Shui's expression changed as she asked, what plan? Even Miao Shihua's heart skipped a beat. Did they all know? Didn't you want to kick me out and let your son be the head of the family? Sima Ji Yuan said. Aren't you still thinking of getting the Jiang clan to help you? So you're still waiting for the Jiang clan to rush over? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Jiang Shui denied. She had indeed sent the news to the Jiang family yesterday. They had also said that they would send someone over. However, it would take some time for them to come over quietly. She thought that she had done it secretly enough. How did Sima Ji Yuan find out? She subconsciously looked at Miao Shihua and saw that she was also very surprised. She knew that she was not the one who leaked it. Could it be that there was a traitor among her people? Don't think about who said it, and don't think about denying it. Since I can say so, I must have evidence. Sima Ji Yuan blocked her words. Since he had already said so, there was no point in her denying it. Jiang Shui, you really? Some of the people who had just heard the news looked at her in shock. They knew that she had always been strong and wanted to show off her abilities. They had always thought that it was because she lacked a man to lead the family, so they had always tolerated her more outrageous behavior. However, this didn't mean that he could tolerate her doing things that were detrimental to the Sima family. Sima Ji Yuan, as the patriarch, you are always unfair and have brought so much trouble to the Sima family. We've sacrificed so much for the family, but we haven't been treated fairly. Why can't we obtain equal rights for ourselves? Jiang Shui said. That's right. Sima Ji Yuan, you old bastard, you should have given up your position to me a long time ago. Only when I become the head of the Sima family can the Sima family be revitalized and return to its former glory. Sima Tu suddenly shouted. When I become the patriarch, I'll send all of you who look down on me to hell. Sima Tu. Those who had been scolded by Sima Tu shouted. You're an evil creature. I'm an evil creature? They are the ones who are evil creatures, okay? Sima Tu pointed at Sima Luxian and Sima Yuyue. If he hadn't colluded with that ghost clan bitch, how would our family have been oppressed by other forces? The funny thing is that this old bastard is still protecting them, just because he's your grandson. I heard that when I was in the family, someone poisoned me to death. Did you do that? Sima Yue asked. Of course. But I didn't expect that a bitch like you would be so lucky. I used so many poisons, but you didn't die. It seems that you are indeed a demon. Sima Tu spat. Sima Tu. Sima Ji Yuan heard him admit that he had done something to the young Sima Yue. He couldn't help but feel angry. Old bastard, go ahead and scream. You don't have many days left to scream anyway. Sima Tu dug his ears with his hands. When my mother and the Jiang family kill you, I will be the patriarch of the Sima family. I just need to endure for a few days. Bam. Sima Tu didn't finish his words because Sima Ji Yuan couldn't control his anger and ran over to punch him heavily. Tu, what did you do to him? Jiang Shui shouted. Actually, we didn't do much. We just fed him the truth pill when you weren't paying attention. Sima Yue said. I just wanted to ask if you guys were the ones who tried to kill me. I didn't expect him to say everything that was in his heart. After speaking, she shrugged her shoulders, indicating that this was not what she expected. Jiang Shui, our Sima family has treated you well for so many years. Why are you so heartless? Even Sima Hishan was angry, his words full of disappointment. Treated me well? Ha ha ha. Sima Hishan. Don't you feel that your words are slapping your face? Jiang Shui laughed. If you really treated us well, why would my bloodline be suppressed in the family? Why are you talking so much nonsense with her? With her personality, no matter how much you do for her, she won't think it's enough. Sima Ji Yuan said. Let's not talk about what they did in the past. What they want to do now is enough to convict them. Convict them? Jiang Shui looked at Sima Jiyuan. You guys aren't worthy. Is that so? You're still a member of the Sima family now. See if you're worthy. Capture them. Sima Jiyuan waved his hand and a group of guards ran out from the main door, surrounding Jiang Shui and the others. Sima Jiyuan, are you going to fall out with us? Didn't you choose this yourself? Sima Jiyuan snorted coldly. Jiang Shui looked at the guards and calculated her chances of winning. You're not allowed to capture grandmother. Many people ran out and surrounded Jiang Shui. These people were from this bloodline, and they all ran out after hearing the news. They might not care much about Jiang Shui, but her life and death would affect their future. If she died, they wouldn't have a good ending in the Sima family. Of course, part of the reason was because of the power that Jiang Shui had left in their hearts. Sima Jiyuan looked at the disciples of the family and said, You guys have to think carefully. As the younger generation of the family, I'll give you one more chance. If you insist on being with Jiang Shui, then you won't be a member of the Sima family anymore. If you admit your mistakes now, you'll still be a member of the Sima family in the future. Do you think that without grandmother, you can still stand in the Sima family in the future? Sima Tu's son shouted. Those people looked at each other and hesitated. Chapter 1471. They were just a branch of the Sima family. If they wanted to fight against the Sima family as a whole, they definitely had no chance of winning. However, if there was no Jiang Shui, would there still be a place for their branch in the Sima family? Thinking about what they had done in the past, the answer was obvious. One was to die now, the other was to drag out an ignoble existence. They didn't know which to choose. Who dares to touch my aunt? A shout was heard. Everyone looked over and saw Jiang Yinlong leading a group of people over from the streets. Sima Yue looked at Jiang Yinlong. She seemed to remember that this person's seniority was about the same as her great-grandfather's. Jiang Shui was actually his aunt. It seemed like her position in the Jiang family was quite high. Sima Jiyuan, Jiang Shui is my Jiang family's aunt. Don't you dare touch her. Jiang Yinlong came to Jiang Shui's side and confronted Sima Jiyuan. Jiang Yinlong, this is my Sima family's territory. Sima Jiyuan was a little surprised that the Jiang family would come so quickly. It seemed like they had spent a lot of money in order to get the Sima family. He glanced at the direction they came from without a trace. They dared to come in so brazenly, so there should be more than just these few people. It's your Sima family's territory now. In a while, it won't be. Jiang Yinlong said. You want to swallow us? That depends on whether you have the ability to do so. Sima Jiyuan looked at them disdainfully. Sima Yue looked at them a little bored. These people always liked to chatter before a fight, and say a bunch of nonsense. Wasn't it to show others that they were powerful and right? But it was useless. It seemed like she had to do something fierce. Little Seven and Mi-Er knew what she was thinking. She hadn't given the order, but they had already taken action and killed the people in their hands. That was because they were getting impatient from waiting. The two of them threw the lifeless people on the ground at the same time and wiped their hands in disgust. Disciple. Father, mother. Grandfather, grandmother. Even the Jiang family members were stunned. Sima Tu and Miao Shihua really died just like that? They didn't dare to believe it. Sima Tu and Miao Shihua had never thought that they, the all-powerful figures in the 64 prefectures, would die just like that. Since you dared to lay your hands on you should have been prepared to die. Little Seven said as she kicked Sima Tu's corpse back. He didn't even let off a newborn baby, he deserved to die. Mi-Er learned from Little Seven and kicked Miao Shihua's corpse back. When Jiang Shui saw that her precious son had been killed and his corpse had been humiliated, she lost control of her anger and attacked Sima Yue. Sima Jiyuan was originally standing in front of Sima Yue, so he naturally went forward to welcome her. As soon as the two of them moved, it was as if the horn of war had been blown. The three sides quickly engaged in battle. Sima Yue retreated far away under the protection of her beasts and watched them fight. With so few people, they definitely won't be able to hold on for long. Ye Guang said. That might not be the case. For the Jiang clan to come all the way here, they definitely have something to rely on. Thousand Resonance said. Sometimes, it's not the number of soldiers but the quality. Is it the old ancestor of the Jiang clan? Thousand Resonance didn't say anything else, which meant that he agreed with Yaguang's guess. The old ancestor of the Jiang clan was much stronger than the average person. For someone like him, he could fight against half of the Sima family. This was why even if there weren't many people, the more experts there were, the stronger they would be. The old ancestors of the two clans were on the verge of advancing, but the old ancestor of the Jiang clan was slightly stronger than the Sima family's old ancestor, so the Jiang clan had always been above the Sima family. Sima Yue looked at the Jiang clan who kept joining in. She guessed that Jiang Yunlong was at the front, and there were still many people rushing over. Little brat Sima, you dare to kill my Jiang clan's people. An angry roar was heard, shaking many people to the point that they spat out blood. Old ancestor. The Jiang clan members saw who it was and shouted excitedly. Sima Yue was also shaken to the point that her blood was boiling, but luckily Mi-air helped her block a lot of it, so she wasn't injured like the others. This is the old ancestor of the Jiang clan? She clutched her chest and grimaced. He looks like a scoundrel, he really looks like the Jiang clan's people. Jiang Ping flew over from afar and landed beside Jiang Shui. Father, you're here. Jiang Shui looked at Jiang Ping excitedly. I came after receiving your news. Jiang Ping looked at his little daughter lovingly. Father, your disciple was killed by them. Jiang Shui held back her tears. At this moment, she was no longer the powerful old ancestor, but the little daughter in front of her father. Don't worry, as his grandfather, I will definitely avenge him. After Jiang Ping said that, he looked at Sima Zhiyuan and said, You killed my Jiang clan's first son before, and now you've killed my grandson. We won't be kind today. Sima Zhiyuan looked at Jiang Ping with disdain. Jiang Ping, isn't your Jiang clan just coveting my Sima family, and wanting to take our family's assets for yourself? Do you have to make it sound so dignified? You're really acting like a prostitute trying to build a monument to her chastity. Impudent. Jiang Ping shouted, and unreservedly suppressed Sima Zhiyuan. Sima Zhiyuan, Sima Hishun and the others resisted together, but they were all suppressed by the pressure. Jiang Ping, as the old ancestor of your clan, you came to my Sima family to kill my clansmen. Aren't you a little too arrogant? A gentle voice sounded. It clearly gave off a peaceful feeling, but it easily dispelled Jiang Ping's pressure. Asterisk 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 asterisk. You've advanced in rank? Jiang Ping could feel his strength just from the pressure. Sima Yue looked up and saw a figure appear from the Sima family in the blink of an eye. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The old ancestor of the Sima family. It was said that he had lived for a few thousand years. Other than the white hair near his ears, the rest of his hair was still black, and there weren't many wrinkles on his face. If it wasn't for the vicissitudes of life in his eyes, one wouldn't be able to tell that he was any different from an ordinary person. He was dressed in white, which made him look elegant and refined. You, this old ancestor of yours is a little showy. Little Seven said softly. I think so too. Sima Yue agreed. At least he's a narcissistic person. The two of them spoke very softly, but it didn't escape the old ancestor's ears. He turned his head and smiled at Sima Yue, and the word flirtatious immediately flashed past her mind. Damn, was this an adjective that an old ancestor of a clan should have? Let's not talk so much. Let's fight to determine the winner. After speaking, he flashed to Jiang Ping's side, grabbed him and flew into the sky. Chapter 1472. Book title. Chapter Let's Talk Quietly. Author Sima Qing pulled Jiang Ping into the void. The people on the ground could only hear the occasional rumbling above their heads. The situation of the battle above them was unclear, but the people on the ground were not idle either. They started fighting again. Jiang Yunlong brought a lot of people, but compared to the Sima family, there weren't many people. Including Jiang Shui, there weren't many people. At first, the people of the Jiang family believed that their ancestor would defeat the ancestor of the Sima family. However, the old ancestor of the Sima family actually advanced. This had far exceeded their expectations. Even their old ancestor had not advanced, so how had he advanced? No matter what the reason was, the result was the same. Despair gradually rose in the hearts of the Jiang family. Without the ability to fight, the battle quickly ended. The people of the Jiang family and Jiang Shui's branch were either killed or captured. Jiang Yunlong was seriously injured and was protected in the center by several guards. Although he was not caught and still tried to resist, he was surrounded by the Sima family and could not move. Sima Zhiyuan, don't think that you've won just like this. As long as the old ancestor returns, all of you will be dead. Pfft, you're still daydreaming at this time. Sima Zhiyuan was also a little injured, but he was much better off than Jiang Yunlong. Sima Yue then walked out from the protection of the beasts. Sima Luxian, Mu Si and the others were still in the center of the beasts, so they were not afraid of the Jiang family's counterattack. Great-grandfather, eat some pills first. She walked over and took out some pills for Sima Zhiyuan. Sima Zhiyuan ate the pill, and the turbulent aura in his body calmed down quite a bit. Sima Yue turned to look at Jiang Shui and said, although it was Sima Tu and Miao Shihua who attacked us, I think you must have given them some hints, right? Jiang Shui turned her head to the side and did not look at her. How dare a junior hamster look at him with such a gaze? Sima Yue did not care about her attitude and said, it's a pity that you can touch some people but not others. After saying that, he turned around and left without waiting for her reaction. The process of waiting was long. Not much time had passed, but in Jiang Yunlong's eyes, it felt like centuries had passed. On the other hand, Sima Zhiyuan and the others were very relaxed. What was there to worry about when the outcome was already set in stone? In less than half a day, Sima Qing came back alone. The final result was self-evident. Sima Qing glanced at Jiang Ping and the rest and said, deal with them properly. Then he grabbed Sima Yue's shoulder and disappeared in front of everyone. Master. Yeah. Mu Si and the beasties shouted when they saw Sima Yue disappear. Don't worry, old ancestor won't do anything to her. Sima Zhiyuan comforted her. Once they're done talking, they'll naturally return. Really? Mu Si was still very worried. Of course, when have I ever lied? Sima Zhiyuan slapped Mu Si's head. He was a little angry that Mu Si didn't believe him. Clean up the mess. He roared at his family, and then went in with his hands behind his back. There was no need for him to do these things. Sima Luxian also went in. After what happened today, no one dared to have any ideas about him. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Sima Yue was the catalyst in today's matter. If she didn't bring the Miao family over, Jiang Shui and the others wouldn't have come out. If she didn't kill Sima too, Jiang Shui wouldn't be angry and the Jiang family wouldn't be drawn out. The Jiang family had been coveting the Sima family all these years. The Sima family also wanted to get rid of the hidden danger that was the Jiang family. However, no matter who made a move on who, they needed an excuse. And she created such an excuse for the Sima family. With such a powerful daughter, even if Sima Luxian didn't have any spirit power now, they wouldn't dare to provoke him. Sima Yue was brought to the back mountain of the Sima family by Sima Qing. Other than Qi Yan, she didn't have any other beasties by her side, but she wasn't worried about her own safety. Why did you bring me here? She asked. So rude, you didn't even call me old ancestor. Although Sima Qing said so, he didn't care very much. I'm not a member of the Sima family now. Sima Yue snorted. She wasn't a member of the Sima family, so he wasn't her old ancestor. Little guy, you care a lot about what happened back then. Sima Qing said. Of course I care. If it wasn't for those things, our family of 3 wouldn't have been separated for so many years, and I wouldn't have grown up alone. Sima Yue said. Although she was already 15 years old when she came into this body, the hardships along the way were not something that ordinary people could understand. There are some things that we can't go against reality, Sima Qing said. I told your father that back then, but he didn't listen to me. Sima Yue didn't want to talk about what happened back then with him. Those things had already happened, and it couldn't be changed. It was useless to talk about it. Why did you bring me here? Of course I brought you here to acknowledge your ancestors. Sima Qing said seriously. Sima Yue looked at him with narrowed eyes. Do you know my condition? Isn't your condition him? Sima Qing looked at the people walking down the mountain. Sima Yue looked down and saw Sima Jiyuan bringing Sima Luxian over. This meant that they wanted to add her and her father to the family tree. And my mother, she said. Okay. Sima Qing agreed without hesitation. Why didn't you bring my father along? She asked. Naturally, we have a little secret to talk about. Sima Qing looked at her mysteriously. She subconsciously took a step back and stared at him warily. What do you want to say? Actually, it's nothing. I just wanted to ask you, are you willing to take over the Sima family? I believe that as long as you are willing, the Sima family can flourish in your hands. Sima Qing looked at her expectantly. I'm not willing. Sima Yue rejected. Why? Although the Sima family is not very strong, they still have a place in the inner regions. I don't want that either. Sima Yue shook her head firmly. You old foxes, don't expect me to take over your mess. I don't like to care about those chores. Sima Qing pursed his lips. Mess. Chores. That was how she described her own family. But she was the only one among the younger generation that he liked. Sima Yue was afraid that he would really put the burden on her and said, I know that you all want the family to be stronger. If there is something that I can be of use to you, I will try my best. But don't expect me to take over. Otherwise, when the time comes and I leave, you won't be able to find me. You're not interested at all? I still have my own things to do. I can't spend my time on the family. Sima Yue said. After father's injury is healed, I will look for mother. This is something that has been planned for a long time. Think about it. Do you really think it's good to hand the Sima family over to me? Chapter 1473. Was it really good to hand over the Sima family to her? They had never thought about this question. When they knew about her talent and ability, they only thought that there was hope for the revival of the Sima family. But they never thought about it. Was it really good to hand over the Sima family to her? With her luck, she would definitely experience a lot of things in the future. She also had a lot of things to do. Handing over the Sima family to her would definitely restrict her footsteps. Actually, to help the Sima family revive, you don't have to take it over. Sima Yue continued. The current head of the family is great-grandfather, but isn't great-uncle Hishun the one who is really managing the family? Sima Qing looked at her, and was sure that she really didn't want to. He sighed and said, Why is your personality the same as your father? I'm my father's child. Sima Yue knew that he was giving in by saying this, so she smiled. Don't laugh. This matter hasn't been decided yet, Sima Qing said. They're here, let's go. Sima Luxian and Sima Jiyuan came up and bowed solemnly to Sima Qing. Old ancestor. How embarrassing, you've made yourself like this. Sima Qing looked at him with his hands behind his back. Just stay in the family in the future, don't think about these things. Sima Luxian bowed slightly, neither saying nor denying. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This guy, he obviously wanted her father to be safer at home, but his words were so smelly. Let's go. Sima Qing brought them into the spirit barrier. There was nothing at the top of the mountain, but there was a majestic ancestral hall. The door of the ancestral hall was the same as the door of the Sima residence, but this was a smaller version. Sima Qing came to the ancestral hall and stood in front of the stone lion. He reached out and pressed on its left eye, and the door of the ancestral hall opened automatically. Let's go in. Sima Qing and Sima Jiyuan walked in first. Sima Yue and Sima Luxian followed behind. The moment they entered the door, Sima Yue felt a force stopping her, and then something seemed to be scanning her. Only those who have the bloodline of the Sima family can enter here, Sima Luxian explained. Then why haven't people like Mother come in before? Sima Yue asked curiously. They came in through another tunnel. In that passage, as long as you have the aura of a man from the Sima family, you can do it. Speaking of this, Sima Luxian's face turned slightly red. Alright, now she knew what that aura meant. They passed through the courtyard and came to the center of the ancestral hall. Before they could push the door open, it opened from the inside. Patriarch Old Ancestor Young Master Luxian, Young Mississippi, a stooped old man came out from inside, bowed to them, then turned and left. This is the guardian of the ancestral hall. His strength is not lower than the patriarch's. Sima Luxian didn't introduce that person to Sima Yue, but she could hear his respect for that old man from his few sentences. Sima Yue guessed that this old man must have a high status in the family. Otherwise, he would not have left after giving a bow. They entered the ancestral hall. The huge ancestral hall was filled with memorial tablets. At a glance, there were probably a few thousand of them. These memorial tablets are the memorial tablets of the direct descendants. The collateral descendants are not qualified to enter here. Sima Luxian said. Then where are they? There are several auxiliary ancestral halls next to it. The important people in the family are in that ancestral hall. While Sima Yue was explaining, Sima Qing lit a few incense sticks and distributed them to everyone. Then he led them to offer incense to the ancestors of the past. Sima Yue was the youngest in the family, so naturally, she was the last to offer incense. When she placed the incense on the incense table, she suddenly felt like a lifetime had passed. The moment she placed the incense on the incense table, countless scenes flashed in front of her eyes. It was as if she saw the prosperity and decline of a family. At this moment, she felt like she was a member of this family. The blood in her body seemed to be surging. After a long time, Sima Qing brought them to the side of the anteroom. Although it was called an anteroom, it wasn't small. It was just much smaller than the ancestral hall. Sima Qing took down a brocade box from the wall and opened it. There were many rolls of brocade in it. He took out the largest brocade and injected spiritual energy into it and threw it into the air. The brocade flashed with golden light and slowly opened. It was about the size of a wall. It was densely filled with names. Sima Qing pointed at one of the places. The words in that area were enlarged. Sima Yue saw many familiar names. For example, Sima Zhiyuan, Sima Hishun, Sima Luxian, Sima Lufeng, Sima Luyin and Sima Yifei. There was a blank space beside Sima Lufeng. Sima Yue guessed that it was her father's position. As expected, Sima Qing got Sima Luxian to bleed. He took out a brush from the box and dipped it in his blood. He wrote his name in the blank space. Then he pulled out a line and wrote, Wife Yukaluo. He pulled a line between him and Yukaluo and wrote Daughter Sima Yue. After that, he even got Sima Yue to squeeze out a drop of blood and dripped it on her name. Sima Yue watched as her blood seeped into the brocade. She thought that she had really returned to her family. She too was someone with a family. This was different from the family that Sima Lai and the rest gave her. At that time, there were few people and simple relationships. Everyone only doted on her. But the family had a long history. There were many branches and they were more united. Sima Luxian watched as his name appeared on the genealogy again. His emotions were fluctuating. Things were the same, but people were different. Just when Sima Yue thought that it was over, a gentle force came from the genealogy and enveloped Sima Yue. The three of them were shocked. Family inheritance, Sima Qing murmured. How many years has it been? The genealogy has released the power of inheritance. Family inheritance? Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Luxian knew about the existence of inheritance, but it was their first time seeing it. Shock could be used to describe their feelings. Sima Qing sighed. If Sima Yue was added to the genealogy, this scene would have happened decades ago. If they knew about this earlier, they wouldn't have let her leave the family. Even if there was pressure, they would have kept her and nurtured her well. The gentle light spread out quickly, passing through the walls and spreading out from the ancestral hall. The people in the family were enveloped by that power. That gentle power made them feel comfortable all over. It was as if something was sprouting in their minds. Feel it. Sima, he exclaimed softly and said to the people around him, Feel it on the spot. When those people heard it, they all sat down cross-legged and tried to grasp the sprouting in their minds. More and more people closed their eyes to feel it. At this moment, the entire Sima family seemed to have quietened down. Something was quietly changing. Chapter 1474. Not only the Sima family members, even the outsiders felt the change in the Sima family. The people on the street all stopped and stared. They felt a force that calmed their irritable hearts. In the ancestral hall, Sima Yue had her eyes closed the whole time. Her face was calm, and all the anger from the battle had dissipated. After an unknown amount of time, the power finally entered her body. The moment she opened her eyes, the power that enveloped the Sima family also entered their bodies. Everyone opened their eyes. Their gazes were even brighter, and they were even more spirited. Some of them had entered a state of enlightenment at that time, and had yet to awaken. Some were already strong enough, but because they didn't have enough comprehension, they couldn't advance. This time, with the power of the inheritance, they had gained insights and naturally advanced. All of a sudden, many courtyards of the Sima family emitted the light of advancement. In the ancestral hall, Sima Yue was also leveling up. This time, her strength did not increase by much. She had only leveled up from Monarch Level 1 to Monarch Level 2, which was still within the range of Gentleman level. When she advanced, the tribulation clouds in the sky began to condense. When she finished her advancement, she didn't have time to say anything to the 3 people in the room. She flew out and only stopped when she was far away from the ancestral hall. For some reason, the cloud spirit did not go easy on Sima Yue this time. Fortunately, her body had been tempered to be very strong, so she could withstand this level of lightning tribulation. Everyone in the Sima family saw her transcending the tribulation here. Many of them were surprised when they sensed the familiar aura. Her aura was in the power that she made us feel earlier, right? Why would she let us comprehend it? No matter what, we have to thank her. Is she really the family's lucky star? As soon as he came back, he solved the Jiang family's problem and made us all realize something. Who knows, she might really be able to revive the family. Is there really hope? The people below were discussing animatedly, but Sima Yu couldn't hear them from the mountain. This time, the cloud spirit was exceptionally ruthless. She didn't have the energy to observe her surroundings. Moreover, she hadn't made any preparations this time. The lightning-proof items that she had taken out at the last minute were just a drop in the bucket. She had to completely rely on her own body to withstand it. When the last bolt of lightning struck, the cloud spirit did not leave. Sima Yue lay on the ground. She did not even have the strength to move her fingers. Her body was charred black, and she looked no different from being roasted. The beasts had rushed over a long time ago, but she made them wait outside. Now that the lightning tribulation was over, they all ran over. Yu, are you okay? Little Seven ran over, and saw that Sima Yue was seriously injured. She screamed, Yu, how did you become barbecued meat? Did you put salt in yourself? There is indeed the smell of barbecued meat. Even Thousand Resonance and the others couldn't help but tease. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. The moment these guys realized that their lives were no longer in danger, their naughty nature was revealed. That's strange. Cloud Spirit, why did you strike so hard this time? Little Dream was puzzled. She looked at the Cloud Spirit that had not left and asked curiously. The Cloud Spirit snorted. These guys finally noticed it. It's not that I struck too hard. It's because her advancement this time involved many things. It's related to some things in the future. I can't cover this up. However, I still went easy on her. Otherwise, with her body, she might not be able to withstand it. The Cloud Spirit explained proudly. Sima Yue was shocked. She had just advanced a level, and it was a very small one. How was it related to the future? Could it be because of it? Thinking about the thing that she had just obtained, she was speechless. This lightning strike was really an unexpected disaster. After the Cloud Spirit explained, it patted its butt and left. If it wasn't for their good relationship, it wouldn't have especially stayed to explain this. Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Qing ran over. Seeing her charred black, their expressions were a little strange. Why was she always struck by lightning? Could it be that she had done too many bad things? Let's bring her back first. Sima Qing said. Zhiyuan, you do it. Sima Yue didn't understand why he stepped aside and let Sima Zhiyuan carry her when he was clearly beside her. Little Seven and the others wouldn't let anyone carry her, so they volunteered to carry her. The moment she turned around, she heard Sima Qing's muttering behind her. She really turned into a little charcoal. If I carry her, she'll turn into charcoal too, right? TSK, she'll dirty my clothes. If Sima Yue had the energy, she would definitely jump up and scold him. You're an old guy who's thousands of years old. Do you have to be like this? Little Seven carried Sima Yue, and under Sima Jiyuan's guidance, they arrived at the courtyard that had been prepared for them. The Sima family saw Little Seven carrying a piece of charcoal, and guessed that it was her. She was struck so hard. Someone said, "Such a good girl turned into charcoal. How pitiful." Exactly. I don't know if she can recover. I heard that she would be struck by lightning every time she advances in rank. Would she turn into charcoal every time? So pitiful. Sima Yue was speechless again. Why were the Sima family members the same as Sima Qing? Couldn't they just have fun? Huang Yingying and the others felt their hearts ache when they saw Sima Yue like this. They heard that she was struck very badly the last time in Fair Eastern City, but they didn't see it with their own eyes. So although their hearts ached, it wasn't as intense as this time. "Yue, are you okay?" Huang Yingying asked. Sima Yue blinked at her, indicating that she was fine, but it made Huang Yingying's heart ache for a while. If she was really fine, why couldn't she even speak? Yin Lang, who had been following her today, rubbed his chin when he saw her like this. He said thoughtfully, "You're so ugly now. Should I continue to follow you?" Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Her meaning was clear. "I never wanted you to follow me. If you don't like it, then get lost." Yin Lang smiled when he saw her gaze. This was the first time he felt that a girl could be so cute when she rolled her eyes. Sima Yue was unhappy because she was surrounded by people the entire way. She threw a tantrum when she was unhappy. Other than Huang Yingying, Sima Luxian and the others, no one else was allowed to enter her place. However, the Sima clan had indeed been rather busy recently. Although Jiang Yunlong and Jiang Ping had been killed, there were still many things that needed to be done in the Jiang clan. Furthermore, Sima Tu's branch still needed to be dealt with. So after 10 days, everyone thought that she was still recuperating, but she had already recovered for a long time. Chapter 1475. When the Sima family was preparing for the final battle with the Jiang family, Sima Yue was soaking in the huge library alone. Pin Book Network. Just as Huang Yingying and the others had said before, this library was very big, and there were a lot of books inside. There were even a lot of unique books. It could be seen that a long time ago, the Sima family was indeed a very powerful family. Unfortunately, it was gone now. The door to the library opened. The person scanned the place and knew where she was. Sima Yue looked at the person who came, put down the book in her hand and asked, "Ian, why are you here?" "I went to your courtyard. Uncle Luxian said that you knew you were here, so I came over." Sima Ian said. "Why did you come to the library the moment you returned to the clan?" "I'm here to see if there's any way to restore father's powers." Sima Yue said. "The longer this drags on, the more disappointed father will be." "That's true." Sima Ian came to her side and sat down. She picked up the thick book beside her and said, "I'll go with you. How do we find them?" "All right." Sima Yue thought that one more person meant one more helping hand, so she told her the keywords. She might not be able to understand those medical books, but if she could read, she would be able to see the keywords. Sima Yue stayed in the book collection pavilion for a few months. Sima Yun and Sima Chi worked together to flip through all the books in the book collection pavilion. Sima Yue finished reading the last medical book and slammed it shut. "As expected, there isn't." She sighed. It seemed that Wu Lingyu's suggestion was the only way now. "You don't be discouraged. There will definitely be a way." Sima Yun comforted her when she saw how dejected she was. "That's right. Yue, if there aren't any books here, there must be some elsewhere. As long as we persevere, we can definitely do it." Sima Chi also agreed. "Yes." Sima Yue smiled at them and said, "You two have been staying here with me all day. How is the situation outside?" "It's nothing much. It's just that our family has completely settled the matter with the Jiang family. In the future, the Jiang family won't appear in front of us anymore." Sima Chi was in a good mood when she said this. It is indeed good news. However, without the Jiang family, there will be other families like the Li family and the Wang family. Sima Yue said. "If you want the clan to be safe, you still need to be strong," Sima Yun said. "Speaking of this, everyone is saying that you are our clan's lucky star. I'm not a lucky charm. How did I become the family's lucky star? You're the family's lucky star, Sima Chi said. The moment you came, you cured us of the 100 days of sleep poison. The Jiang family's matter has been a headache for the family for a long time. In the end, you just came back and gave us an opportunity. Then you found the profound moon fruit and let the old ancestor advance, allowing us to survive the Jiang family's matter. And as soon as you entered the genealogy, you received the family's inheritance. You also helped many people in the family who were trapped in the bottle to advance successfully. Tell me, if you're not our lucky star, then what are you? Sima Yue looked at her worshipful face and smiled. Things are not as mysterious as you say. It's just a coincidence. No matter what, you did bring a lot of benefits to the family when you came back, Sima Yun said. By the way, Yue, what is the family's inheritance you received? Can you tell us? Sima Chi asked curiously. Chi, don't mess around. Sima Yun scolded softly. What's wrong with that? If I can't say, Yue won't tell us. She won't be angry. Right, Yue? Sima Chi said with a grin. But, Ian, aren't you curious? Sima Chi interrupted her. Sima Yun pursed her lips. She was curious too. But Patriarch and the others had never asked Yue about this. How could they ask her? Actually, there's nothing that can't be said, Sima Yue said. At that time I received a power and a set of spirit skills. Speaking of that power, Sima Yun and the others were more touched, because both of them had comprehended a lot of things from that incident. Our inheritance is actually a set of spirit skills? Sima Chi was surprised. Our ancestors did use a set of spirit skills to conquer the world. But later on, it slowly became what it is now. Sima Yun sighed. What is that set of spirit skills? Actually, that spirit skill is fusion. Sima Yue said. It's just that our family used to have many beast tamers, so there were many spirit beasts. Relying on spirit beasts and fusion, our battle power was much higher than others. Because of that, we used to be all-powerful. Could it be that our decline is due to the lack of beast tamers? Sima Chi guessed. Not only that, Sima Yue said. The fusion at that time is different from now. What's different? The fusion at that time not only allowed the person and the contracted beast to become one, but the effect was better. It was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. But the fusion now is missing the essence of the past. Sima Yue explained. Before I came here, I had already made a copy of the spirit skills and passed it to my great-grandfather. If you haven't heard, they should still be researching it. I think that if the family wants to rise again, we need to find more beast tamers. Sima Chi placed both hands on the table. Otherwise, even if we have this spirit skill, we won't have so many spirit beasts. We don't need to worry about this. Patriarch and the others will naturally think of this, Sima Yun said. Sima Yue lowered her head and didn't say anything. She gave the spirit skill to Sima Ji Yuan, but didn't tell them about the imperial beast art. She believed that as long as they had these two things, the Sima family would rise again. But the imperial beast art was given to her by Mo Sha. Without his permission, she couldn't tell anyone about it. Thinking of Mo Sha, she remembered that Wu Lingyu had been gone for a long time. According to the past, he should have contacted her long ago. Why hadn't he contacted her after so long? Could it be that he had fallen into a coma again? That couldn't be right. He had just woken up not long ago. He wouldn't have fallen into a coma now. If it wasn't because of him, then there should be something holding him back. Could it be that the Sage Pavilion found out that he was going for the Phoenix Nirvana Divine Medicine and captured him? But she immediately denied her own thoughts. He wasn't just Wu Lingyu, he was also Mo Sha, the king of the Devil Realm. With such a powerful person by his side, how could an ordinary person be able to trap him? And there wasn't any news from the continent. Thinking of this, she suddenly laughed. She must have been too concerned. He hadn't looked for her for a few months, and she was already overthinking things. This book came from a book. Chapter 1476. Since there was no cure for her father in the library, Sima Yue did not waste any more time. Instead, She went to look for a few books about her family's history. Please search product #bookyennet to see the most complete. Update the fastest. When Sima Chi-Chi and Sima Iyun helped her find it, they were a little puzzled as to why she would be interested in the family history. She smiled and said, "Didn't I just return to the clan? I need to understand the history of the clan well." This reason made sense. The two of them found several thick books for her. They couldn't help her with this. She could only look at it herself, so they left. Sima Yue stayed in the library alone and spent a few days reading the history books. There's actually no description of this. She finished reading the last book inside. She opened her hand, and a milky white bubble-like thing appeared in her palm. This was something that had been formed in her body by that power during the inheritance. It didn't seem to have any offensive power, and she didn't feel anything in her body. However, she could vaguely feel that the reason why she was struck so badly when she was promoted was because of it. However, this thing didn't seem to have any intelligence or power, so he didn't know what it was. The cloud spirit said that her strength this time would have a great impact in the future, which was why she was struck so badly. After thinking about it, this was the only possibility. She thought that since it was something that had been passed down in her family, it might be mentioned in her family's history. That was why he had read all the family history books. In the end, there was no mention of such a thing in those books. So this was not something from the Sima family at all? Or was it that there was such a thing but it wasn't recorded? She thought about it, put the book back, and went to look for Sima Qing. What powerful things did the ancestors have? Sima Qing looked at her and thought for a while. It doesn't seem like there's anything powerful. If one were to talk about something powerful, it would be that set of spiritual techniques. Is there a problem? Nothing much. I'm just curious as to why our ancestors are so powerful. Sima Yue said. Sima Qing should be the oldest person in the Sima family. If even he didn't know, then there was probably no one else who knew what it was. What exactly was this little bubble? If she couldn't figure it out, then she wouldn't think about it. Anyway, she wasn't the kind of person who liked to go down a dead end. If you have the time, go and comprehend some spiritual techniques. Sima Qing said. This set of spirit techniques is indeed much more profound than what we have now, and there are many parts that are not easy to understand. I think that since you were able to obtain this inheritance, you must be fated with it. Perhaps it will be easier for you to comprehend it. In the past few months, other than dealing with the Jiang family's affairs, most of the family's energy had been spent on comprehending spiritual techniques, but the results were minimal. I've also seen that spiritual technique. There are indeed many aspects that are different from what we're learning now. Some of them are even contradictory. If you want to learn this, you'll probably have to change everyone's views first. Sima Yu continued. I don't know if I'll be able to comprehend it. However, let's try our best. I believe you. Sima Qing's smile made her feel as if she had been checkmated by an old fox. The whole family is a sly old fox. She muttered in her heart and returned to her courtyard. When she reached the entrance of the courtyard, she saw Mu Si and a man walking out. The two of them were talking and laughing, and seemed to be quite familiar with each other. At first, she thought that it was someone from the Sima family, but when she took a look, the material of the other party's clothes was different from the Sima family's. When Mu Si saw her, his eyes flashed and he bowed, saying, Master, you're back. Are you out of seclusion? I'm out. I didn't find anything useful over there. Sima Yue nodded slightly. This is? Inshang greets Miss Yue. That man didn't wait for Mu Si to introduce him and bowed to Sima Yue. In family? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. How is the In family so familiar with Mu Si? I'm the butler of Tangerine City's City Lord's residence. Inshang said. Sima Yue understood. As expected, he was here to find Yin Lang. Yin Lang is still here? She guessed with certainty. Yes. He said that he wanted to wait for Master to come out of seclusion, and didn't leave. Brother Shang would come to report to him sometimes. Mu Si explained. Is he treating the Sima family as his City Lord's residence? Sima Yue said faintly. Are you guys going out? I won't hold you guys up. Inshang will take his leave. Inshang cupped his hands and left. Master, I'll send him out. When Musi saw Sima Yue coming out of seclusion, his face was full of smiles. Go ahead. I'll check on your homework later, Sima Yue said. This homework was naturally referring to the situation of his cultivation in the past few months. Alright, I'll be back soon. Musi left with light steps. Sima Yue looked at his back view and smiled. She turned and went into the courtyard to find someone to settle the score. Yin Lang was currently in his room, slumped on the couch and eating spirit fruits in satisfaction. The door was open, so he saw Sima Yue the moment she entered the courtyard. You're so comfortable here. Sima Yue pursed her lips. Are you planning to move your city lord's residence to my Sima family? How long have you been back, and it's already become your Sima family? Yin Lang spat out 2 small cores and accurately threw them into the trash basket at the side. Don't say this to me. Sima Yue found a stool and sat down. Is it because great-grandfather and the rest think that you're my friend, so they can't bring themselves to chase you away? Don't say it's so estranged. Yin Lang said. I said that I want to follow you, so I naturally have to keep my word. Until you make me understand what true love is. Aren't you bored? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Don't tell me there's nothing for you to settle in Tangerine City? Yin family doesn't have anything for you to do? There's something for me to do. But I plan to bring you along, so I've been waiting for you to come out of seclusion. What is it? You're a seeker spirit master, right? Then are you interested in mineral veins? Yin Lang asked. Of course. Why, you found a mineral vein and you're going to give it to me? Sima Yue asked. Sure. Yin Lang answered straightforwardly. It was just a mineral vein. If it could make her smile, it would be good. Forget it. Sima Yue rejected first. What's wrong with a mineral vein? It's not a mineral vein. It's a mining area this time. It's an ancient mining area. How about it? Are you interested? Ancient mining area? Sima Yue was stunned and her breathing became rapid. Are you serious? Of course. How about it? Are you interested in taking a look? If it's really an ancient mining area, it's not bad to take a look. Then it's settled. I'll bring you there. If she wants to go, she'll go with me. You don't have to worry. Wu Lingyu's voice suddenly sounded. Sima Yue's eyes lit up and the corners of her mouth curved up unconsciously. This book came from the collection. Chapter 1477. It was Yin Lang's first time seeing her smile so sweetly. The blissful look on her face was something he had never seen before. Was this what she meant when she said that she liked someone? Wu Lingyu walked in from outside and Sima Yue welcomed him with a smile. Why are you here? Wu Lingyu hugged her shoulder and brushed her hair behind her back. He smiled and said, I missed you so I came. Sima Yue smiled even more brightly. She used her hand to hit his shoulder lightly and said, You didn't send me any news after so long. I thought something happened to you. Something happened. I'll tell you later. Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand. All right. Yin Lang felt a little stuffy in his chest and it was difficult for him to breathe. He reached out and touched his chest. It was a little uncomfortable. Wu Lingyu noticed his condition and held Sima Yue's shoulder, saying, Didn't I say that you're not allowed to be with other men when I'm not around? This is... Cough cough, this is the City Lord of Tangerine City. Sima Yue introduced. So it's City Lord Lang. I'm sorry for not recognizing you. Wu Lingyu nodded at him. He did not treat him differently because of his identity. Yue, he's the man you like? Yin Lang didn't bother with Wu Lingyu. Looking at his hand on her shoulder, he had the urge to go up and push it away. Yes. Sima Yue admitted openly. He's the holy son of the Sage Pavilion. He's the holy son of the inner regions now. Wu Lingyu said. You're in the inner regions? Yes. They wanted to transfer me here in the past, but I didn't like it. So it was left unsettled. Now that you're in the inner regions, I naturally have to follow. Wu Lingyu said. So it's the holy son of the Sage Pavilion. Yin Lang felt that he could not breathe anymore. He stood up and said, I have something to do. I'll go settle it first. After he finished speaking, he did not wait for their reaction, and left the room as if he was fleeing. After he left, Wu Lingyu leaned over and planted a heavy kiss on her lips. This is your punishment. I told you not to hook up with other men, but you let them live in our house. Sima Yue poked his chest. I didn't. Don't think I don't know. He's been following you for a long time. Wu Lingyu said. If you already knew, then why did you come so late? Sima Yue teased him. Why didn't you send me the news? You made me so worried. Don't change the topic. I only know that there's a man by your side, but I don't know how he's following you. I'll be lenient if you confess. I'll be strict if you resist. Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand and bit it lightly. You wanted to follow me. I didn't ask him to, Sima Yue said. Then why is he following you? Sima Yue leaned into his embrace and told him about how Yin Lang wanted her to be his woman, and how he wanted to follow her. She raised her head and saw a certain someone gritting his teeth. He dares to make you his woman. He's really tired of living. All right, it's just a joke, Sima Yue said. Let's not talk about him. Why didn't you send me any news after so long? Did the Sage Pavilion punish you? No. Wu Lingyu saw that she was really worried and said, They only said a few words about what I did and didn't punish me. It's just that I was sent to do some things and was delayed for a while. Oh. Sima Yue did not ask him what he was doing. She just wanted him to be safe. I've seen the Phoenix Nirvana. The fruit hasn't ripened yet. I think we still have to wait for a while, Wu Lingyu said. Where is it in the Sage Pavilion? Is it easy to enter? Is there anything? Leave this to me, Wu Lingyu said. Don't worry, I'll definitely hand it over to you. Sima Yue looked at him and hooked her arms around his neck. She nodded and said, All right, I'll let you do your best. Is there a reward? Wu Lingyu's lips curled into a seductive arc, looking as if he was tempting her to commit a crime. Sima Yue tiptoed and planted a kiss on his lips. A reward? That's not enough. Wu Lingyu waved his hand and the room door closed automatically. After a long while, their lips parted. The two of them were breathing heavily. I really want to marry you quickly. Wu Lingyu pressed his head against hers, not daring to go any deeper. Sima Yue felt the thing pressing against her body and her face turned red. Oh right, do you have news about rising from the ashes? She changed the topic, not wanting the atmosphere in the room to be too ambiguous. When she mentioned this, the person above her head was silent. Sima Yue left his embrace and looked at him. What's wrong? Is there no news? No. Wu Lingyu was silent for a while. Actually, there is some news. Where is it? Wu Lingyu saw that her gaze was too urgent and kept his thoughts. The last news I got was that rising from the ashes is related to the hidden Xianqiu clan. However, whether it's in the Xianqiu clan or not, I can't be sure. What I can be sure of is that the Xianqiu clan at least knows where it is. Sima Yue was startled and laughed. If she knew that rising from the ashes was related to the Xianqiu clan, she would definitely go to the Xianqiu clan and contact Xianqiu He. So the reason why he didn't want to say it was because he didn't want her to look for Xianqiu He. Silly. She laughed and poked him. I just don't want you to look for him. Wu Lingyu hugged her. No matter how outstanding those people are, they can't be compared to you. This is what I mean by beauty is in the eye of the beholder. She laughed. Wu Lingyu saw the smile in her eyes. She actually dared to laugh at him. He captured her lips again and gave her a long and fierce kiss. Yin Lang actually didn't leave. He was outside. Although there was a barrier and he couldn't sense the situation inside, he still felt terrible. He wanted to pull her away from another man's embrace. It wasn't because she was pretty, but because he felt that there was an empty space in his heart that only she could fill. After a long while, the door opened. She and Wu Lingyu walked out. Her slightly swollen red lips were telling of their intimate moment. He watched them walk out of the courtyard. He watched her smile sweetly at him. For the first time, he felt that he really liked her. Was this the feeling of liking someone? Although he still wanted her to be his woman, his state of mind was different. If this is the feeling of liking someone, then this feeling is really terrible. He muttered and turned to leave. Sima Yue brought Wu Lingyu to see her family. She also told them that she would be leaving for a period of time. Chapter 1478. Perhaps they had already known that he was coming, But the entire living room had become similar to the tri-court trial. Sima Qing and Sima Zhiyuan sat in the main seats while Sima Hishun, Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying sat in the lower seats while Sima Luxian sat in the lower seats. Sima Qing frowned as he looked at Wu Lingyu. This is the guy who wants to kidnap our daughter? His tone was very unkind, as if he was unhappy that his cabbage was being eaten by a pig. Why do you have a partner at such a young age? Sima Hishun was unhappy as well. The holy son of the Sage Pavilion? Our relationship with the Sage Pavilion has never been good. How can we marry our daughter to them? Indeed you can't. Sima Yue could not help but feel speechless when she saw them singing the same tune. If Yu is willing, I can marry into your family. Wu Lingyu said. Poof. Sima Yue almost choked on her own saliva. She turned around and looked at him in shock. Was there something wrong with this fellow? If that's the case, I can consider it. Sima Qing stroked his chin and looked like he was deep in thought. Sima Yue guessed that he was calculating the pros and cons of marrying into the family. Although I'm still a little unhappy, I feel better than before. Sima Hishun said. I say, what do you guys think? Sima Zhiyuan had long accepted Wu Lingyu, while Sima Xiuqi and the others were filial family members. As long as Yue liked it, they would do anything. Grandpa, we have something to tell you this time. Sima Yue interrupted them. If he allowed them to continue, who knew what else they would say? What is it? Sima Luxian asked. I need to leave with Lingyu for a while. Sima Yue said. Are you guys going to elope? Sima Qing suddenly asked. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. If I really wanted to elope, why would I report it to you? Where are you going? How long will he be gone? Is there any danger? Huang Yingying asked. Sima Yue glanced at Wu Lingyu. Seeing that he did not object, she said, Lingyu said that he found an ancient mine in the 32 continents. Ancient mining area. Everyone's breathing quickened. Is this true? What Lingyu said must be true. Sima Yue trusted him completely. The ancient mines have always been unknown to people. The places where they are located are all very dangerous. The 32 continents have always been the strangest place in the inner regions. It is indeed possible to find an ancient mine there. Sima Hishun said. Many powers already know about this news. I think there should be a lot of people heading towards the 32 continents. Sima Yue said. Then we'll send someone over as well. Great-grandfather, patriarch, I think it's better for the family not to get involved in this mess. Sima Yue said. Why? Lingyu said that the ancient mine is too strange. Sima Yue said. The place where it was found is strange. The place where it appeared is strange. Even that place is filled with evil. Evil? Yes. Those who went and have not come out yet. Wu Lingyu said. Actually, that place was discovered more than 10 years ago, but those who went and never came out. However, every few years, those people's things would be found outside the mine. Without exception. It's that dangerous. Although it's dangerous, it's still very attractive. Sima Hishun said. That's right. Wu Lingyu nodded. At first, this news did not spread because the powers who discovered it had been suppressing the news, trying to take the mine for themselves. However, later on they found out that it was a hard bone to chew, so the news slowly spread. When the news spreads, there will definitely be a lot of powers going. The family has just experienced the Jiang family's incident, and has not fully recovered yet. In addition, it's too dangerous there. Even if the family goes, they may not be able to gain anything. Sima Yue said. There are some opportunities that we have to participate in, but some opportunities may not be suitable for us. We still have to consider this matter from the perspective of actual strength. Everyone was silent. She was right. The Sima family's current strength was indeed not enough to participate in this matter, but that was the ancient mine. Even if they obtained a little bit, it might help the family revitalize. Yue is right, although the temptation is great, we still need to have enough strength. Sima Hishun said. For this matter, we'll just watch. Yue, won't it be too dangerous for you to go? Huang Yingying was worried. Why don't we bring some people with you? Grandma Lingyu is here. Sima Yue said with a smile. I'll go alone, so I can adapt to the situation. Don't worry. Huang Yingying looked at Wu Lingyu and knew that he was very powerful. With him around, Yue should be fine. When are you leaving? Sima Luxian asked. It's best if you can leave immediately. The news spreads quickly. I don't know how many people have already rushed over. Sima Yue said. If you go earlier, you might be able to obtain something and bring it back for the family. All right then. If there's anything, you must contact the family. Sima Zhiyuan said worriedly. The family will prepare more things for you later. You can leave tomorrow. Okay. Sima Yue replied. Anyway, it was just a day or two away. Then you can go back first. When the things are prepared, I'll get someone to send it to you. Sima Zhiyuan said. Sima Yue hesitated for a moment, then took out a box and said, Old ancestor, this thing belongs to Lingyu. I made a copy of it. I think it will be more effective when used together with the family's cultivation methods and spirit techniques. What is this? Sima Qing took the box and opened it, seeing a handwritten copy. This is the Imperial Beast Art. Sima Yue said, for hundreds of thousands of years, this is the best Imperial Beast Art. The box in Sima Qing's hand almost fell to the ground. The hand that was holding the copy trembled. What did you say this is? He couldn't believe his ears. This is the Imperial Beast Art. Lingyu got it by accident and taught it to me later. I think the family's main spirit technique is fusion, so there's a high demand for spirit beasts. If there are good spirit beasts, our family's strength will definitely increase by a few times. This way, the family's strength will naturally increase as well. Sima Yue said. It's actually the Imperial Beast Art. I didn't expect that we would be able to see the Imperial Beast Art with our own eyes. Sima Qing was so excited that he was almost speechless, looking at the copy in his hand. He still felt that it was an illusion. Oh right, when using this Imperial Beast Art to tame spirit beasts, both the contractor and the spirit beast will increase their strength during the contract. Usually it can help the person advance. Sima Yue said. This Imperial Beast Art has been lost, so it's best not to let others know about this. Otherwise, it won't be something that can revive the family, but a talisman that will hasten the family's demise. Chapter 1479. Of course we know that. Sima Qing said seriously. When the time comes, we'll get the people who are learning it to keep it a secret. They wanted to rise, not perish. This Imperial Beast Art was enough to make everyone in the mainland go crazy. Its influence would not be lower than Sky Splitter. He looked at Sima Yue, his heart filled with emotions. Just like the rumors in the family, she was the family's lucky star. Once she came back, she brought a lot of changes to the family. Sometimes, a spirit technique could make a power rise quickly. Fusion was a very powerful spirit technique, or else the Sima family would not be in the limelight for a period of time. Now, with the Imperial Beast Art, as long as these two were mastered, the rise of the Sima family was only a matter of time. However, just like what she said, this could not be known by others, or else it would bring endless trouble. These people were all smart, she did not need to say anything else. Then we'll go back first. Sima Yue bowed to them and brought Wu Lingyu back. On the way back, the Sima family saw her and ran over to greet her. Wu Lingyu did not say anything at first, but later on, he found that most of the people who came up to greet her were men, and all of them looked at Sima Yue with sparkling eyes, and his heart started to feel uncomfortable. Therefore, when he saw someone coming up just now, he grabbed her hand and silently declared his ownership. The Sima family was curious about his identity at first, but in a blink of an eye, they saw him holding their goddess hand, and for a moment, everyone did not react. What does he mean by this? What else could it mean? He's unhappy with you guys. Sima Chi laughed. Yue's taken. Damn. Are you telling the truth? Of course. Didn't you see that Yue did not struggle free? Sima Chi looked at their disappointed faces, taking pleasure in their misfortune. Who asked you to hang around outside Yue's courtyard all day? Sima Yue looked up at Wu Lingyu's expressionless face, and laughed secretly in her heart. However, she allowed him to hold her hand and walk around the Sima residence. Thank you. For what? Thank you for agreeing to let me take out the taming beast art. Sima Yue said with a smile. Before I went to meet them, I already said that since I've already given it to you, you can do whatever you want with it. This is your family. If they can become stronger, it will be good for you. We'll talk about it later. What? Since I'm going to marry into your family, these things will also belong to the Sima family in the future. Ahem ahem. Sima Yue stared at her in shock. Are you serious? Are you kidding? Who said I was joking? Wu Lingyu glanced at her indifferently. If they don't agree to you marrying me, then I'll have to marry into their family. Are you willing to elope with me? Sima Yue's lips twitched. Was this guy serious? Wu Lingyu's face suddenly enlarged in front of her eyes. The two of them were about to be together again. Don't you think so? Wu Lingyu took the opportunity to steal a kiss on her lips. Do whatever you want. Sima Yue held his face with both hands and pushed him away. She even pinched him while she was at it. As for eloping, that was definitely impossible. Whether she would marry into his family or marry into his family, they would discuss this later. The people who were following them saw that they actually kissed and their hearts broke. Many of them beat their chests and stomped their feet. Their goddess had really gotten together with him. Why did their goddess already belong to someone else when they only had one? What are you afraid of? They're not even married. How can we admit defeat? There's no wall that can't be dug, only a shovel that isn't hard enough. Someone shouted. That's right. It's not like we don't have a chance. From tomorrow onwards, I'll go and make my presence known. When she remembers me, there might be hope. I'll do that too. However, the next day, when they went for a stroll outside the courtyard, they received news that she had already left with Wu Lingyu. Everyone was stunned. Then, they were like eggplants that had been beaten by frost and could not lift their spirits. Why did she leave just like that? At this moment, Sima Yue was standing outside the Spiritualist Guild, looking at Wu Lingyu and Yin Lang staring at each other. She and Wu Lingyu had arrived at the Spiritualist Guild early in the morning, preparing to use the teleportation array to go to Cord City. There was a spatial ship that went to the 32 continents there. Unexpectedly, they saw Yin Lang the moment they arrived. After this guy ran away yesterday, she did not see him for the whole day. She did not expect him to be waiting for her here. Since we're both going there, let's go together. No need. Wu Lingyu rejected directly. It's not on the way. It's not up to you whether it's on the way or not. Then the two of them stared at each other. The two of them stared at each other for more than 10 minutes. Just as Sima Yue was about to speak, they spoke again. You're not confident. Yin Lang said. You're afraid that if I go with you she'll like me. Do you think such a childish method of provocation will work on me? Wu Lingyu's eyes were filled with self-confidence and contempt for other men. However, I won't interfere with her freedom to make friends. If you want to follow, then follow. That's what you said. Of course. It's getting late, let's go. After Wu Lingyu finished speaking, he pulled Sima Yue's hand and entered the Spiritualist Guild. Sima Yue rolled her eyes in her heart. Yin Lang might not know, but she knew what he was thinking when she saw his eyes. He let Yin Lang follow, not because he did not want to interfere with her freedom to make friends, but because he wanted to show off their affection in front of Yin Lang, provoke him, and make him give up on her. How childish. However, she did not say anything. If he wanted to do it, then do it. As long as he did not go overboard, she was still willing to accommodate him. The three of them went to Cord City. As the spatial ship would arrive in a few days, they went to the He family. He Zhenjiang and Su Lunyan were very happy to see Sima Yue. This child, you didn't even tell us you were coming. Although Su Lunyan was complaining, the smile on her face was very warm. We came to take the spatial ship. There are still a few days left, so we came to see you and check on you. Sima Yue said. My body is very good. The discomfort of my soul being trapped for so many years has completely recovered. Su Lunyan said. Still, we have to check on you. Sima Yue checked on her and confirmed that her body was fine before completing her treatment. He Zhenjiang and the rest were at the side. When they heard that they were going to take the spatial ship a few days later, he said, You're going to the 32nd continent? Yes. Are you sure you want to participate? I heard that it's very strange inside. He Zhenjiang asked. Uncle He, you don't plan to go? Sima Yue asked. He must have heard the news, but hearing this, he did not plan to participate. Chapter 1480. This ancient mine is too strange. Although it's a great opportunity, you have to be alive to get it. He Xinjiang didn't let this get to his head. Besides, I have more important things to deal with. Are we going to investigate the corpses? Sima Yue asked. That's right. He Xinjiang replied. How dare you lay your hands on fleeting time? Moreover, I feel that this matter may not be limited to just us. Uncle He, what have you found? There are indeed some things that don't make sense. He Zhenjiang hesitated for a moment and decided to tell her the information he had found. When you go out this time, you must be on guard against people wearing black cloaks. Black cloak? There should be a lot of people dressed like this. Right now, we only know that those are black cloaks. We haven't found any other insignia. He Zhenjiang said. According to the information we've gathered in the past few months, there have been many strange deaths on the continent. However, the Yang family has nothing to do with this. How so? I can't say for sure, but when I saw the corpse, it didn't feel like a normal death. He Zhenjiang said. I also saw a corpse last month. I found it really strange. If those people were killed by the undead, then they would naturally carry the aura of death. You're all light attribute soul masters, so it's natural for you to feel uncomfortable. Sima Yue explained. It should be, He Zhenjiang said. Also over the years many dead bodies have disappeared. Gone. They must have been taken back and turned into corpses. Sima Yue said confidently. Kill the people they want to kill and turn those people into their strength. This way, they will become more and more powerful. Yue, don't corpses rot and emit a stench? How can those people last for so long? Su Lunyan asked curiously. They must have used some secret method to deal with the corpses, Sima Yue guessed. However, we can only know the details when we see the corpses. No matter what, be careful, Su Lunyan reminded. We will, Sima Yue replied. Let's go, I'll take you to your accommodation. If it wasn't for the fact that it's inconvenient for me to appear in front of others, I'd like to take a look at this matter too. Su Lunyan held Sima Yue's hand and chatted as they walked. When she found out that Wu Lingyu was Sima Yue's sweetheart, she looked at him in surprise and then shook her head regretfully. I even said that I would introduce my nephew to you. Now that you mention it, it's not good. Su Lunyan said regretfully. Sima Yue pursed her lips. Introduce a nephew to her? Was he trying to matchmake her? Su Lunyan did not wait for her to continue and continued. Speaking of which, my nephew is considered to be one of the best in this generation. If I'm compatible with you, I should be able to barely match you. Alas, it's a pity that it's too late. Sima Yue did not know what to say and could only smile awkwardly. All right, don't be embarrassed. I'm just saying. Su Lunyan looked at her and smiled, but she was still as gentle as before. Oh right, he's going to the ancient mine too. When you meet him, take care of him. I wonder who Aunt He's nephew is. He's called Suyu. Suyu? The genius from the Su family in the 19th region? Yin Lang said in surprise. You're from the Su family? Yes. Su Lunyan smiled. You know him? Sima Yue asked. The Su family is a big family in the 19th region. Suyu is a genius whose reputation is similar to your father's. Yin Lang said. Of course, compared to me, he's still a little lacking. Sima Yue knew that her father and master were very famous in the inner region. To be as famous as her father, this person's reputation was not small either. She wondered if master would go too. She had not seen him for a long time. If he saw that she had grown to this stage, would he be proud? Aunt He, is there a Feng family in Yi region? She asked. No, why? Su Lunyan was curious. My master and my father are good friends. I think he should be from Yi region, Sima Yue said. Oh, since he's your father's friend, you didn't ask your father? Later on, because of my mother, their relationship was a little awkward. I didn't know if my father would want to mention him, so I didn't ask. Sima Yue said. His name is Feng Zhixing, from the Feng family in the inner region. You're talking about Feng Zhixing. I knew when you mentioned his name. Su Lunyan said, "There's no Feng family here, but there's a force attached to the Feng family." "Which force is that?" "Integral Moon Palace." "Integral Moon Palace? Is it that Integral Moon Palace?" Sima Yue looked at Yinlang. Why was this guy's expression so strange? "What's wrong?" "Integral Moon Palace is a very mysterious force. They will travel in the inner region, but very few people know where they are." Yinlang said, "It's not just the Feng family. They have many other forces attached to them in the mainland. Those forces will send their disciples or clansmen in. Once they enter, they will have a very high status in Integral Moon Palace. Your master is one of them." "Doesn't that mean we can't find him?" Sima Yue was a little disappointed. The matter at the ancient mining area was so big. Maybe they will go too. Su Lunyan comforted. "When your master knows that you're in the inner region, he will definitely come to find you." I'm not in a hurry," Sima Yue replied. Sima Yue and the other two stayed in the He family for a few days. When the spatial ship arrived, they left. What surprised her was that she actually saw Yang Shi and the other two on the ship. They haven't left after so long? Sima Yue pursed her lips. She really didn't want to see them. However, Yang Shi obviously didn't think so. When she saw Sima Yue, or more accurately, when she saw Yinlang beside Sima Yue, she walked towards her with a fervent gaze. "Miss Yue, what a coincidence. We meet again." Yang Shi smiled and greeted her. "Hee, what a coincidence." Sima Yue pursed her lips. "The meeting has been over for so long. Why are you still here?" "We were delayed for a while because of Madame He's illness. Later on we felt that this place was not bad, so we stayed until now." Although Yang Shi was answering her, her gaze kept drifting towards Yinlang. As for Li Yao and Feng Qi, ever since they saw Wu Lingyu, their eyes had never moved away. When Sima Yue saw those two pairs of naked eyes, she felt that they were an eyesore. She held Wu Lingyu's arm and smiled at them. "It's a little late. We'll go back and rest first. Lingyu, let's go back." Chapter 1481. Wu Lingyu's heart melted when he saw her pouting. "Since you're tired, go in and rest. There's nothing much to see outside anyway." With that, he led her into the room, not giving them a single glance. Li Yao and Feng Qi retracted their gazes in disappointment. They turned to see Yinlang still looking over there, his eyes dark. "City Lord Lang, who is that person?" Feng Qi was the worst at reading people's expressions, and directly asked what she wanted to know. "The Holy Son of the Sage Pavilion." Yinlang answered and walked around them to return to his room. Yang Shi clenched her fists so tightly that her nails were about to pierce into her flesh. She was a living person standing there, but Yinlang didn't even look at her. All his attention was on that woman. She already had a partner. Was he still unwilling to give up? "I didn't expect that person to be the Holy Son of the Sage Pavilion." Feng Qi hugged her chest, so excited that she was about to faint. Why are you so excited? Didn't you see that woman's declaration?" Yang Shi sneered. "That man dotes on that bitch Sima Yue a lot. That woman is really despicable. No matter where she goes, there's no lack of men around her. Now she's even occupying City Lord Lang and the Holy Sun." Feng Qi said hatefully. "That's right. That's why she deserves to die now." Li Yao said faintly. If they wanted to kill her before to please Yang Shi, then they had a reason to kill her now. They were on the boat now, so they couldn't do anything. After they got off the boat, since they were all going to the 32 continents, they were definitely going for the ancient mine. They heard that it was very evil there. When the time came, they would have plenty of opportunities to make a move on her. In the room, Wu Lingyu leaned on the bed while Sima Yue laid down with her head on his lap and her hands playing with his hair. "You know those people just now?" His magnetic voice had a hint of ridicule. "Forget it. They wanted to kill me," Sima Yue said. She felt the pressure around her become lower. She patted his body and said, "I haven't done anything yet. I'm just thinking about it." "Even if you want to, you deserve to die." Wu Lingyu's voice was very soft, but it was filled with endless killing intent. "I say, are you still the Holy Son of the Sage Pavilion? Do you think you can kill as you please?" Sima Yue glared at him. I'm the devil king of the devil world. Of course, I can kill whenever I want to. Wu Lingyu didn't think much of it. Wasn't it just killing a person? He had killed countless people in the past. This is not the demon realm. Sima Yue said. They haven't done anything yet. If they really want to do something, I won't be an obedient lamb. However, I think this possibility is very high. Sima Yue tugged at his hair. Didn't you see how Feng Qi and Li Yao were staring at you? If Yang Shi was the only one who really wanted to kill me in the past, it was also because I didn't have any feelings for Yin Lang and hadn't taken any action yet. Now that they have you and you're my boyfriend, I think they won't be able to hold back anymore. I'll go and settle them. Just as he finished speaking, Sima Yue tugged at his hair again. Only the weak and incompetent would rely on men to settle the war between women. She snorted. If you go and kill them, won't you say that I'm weak and incompetent and can't even protect my own man? All right then, I'll let you protect me. Wu Lingyu moved his legs and scooped her up with his long arms. He hugged her in his arms and bent down to kiss her lips. On the way to the 32nd continent, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu stayed in the house and didn't go out. Sima Yue took out the armament refining manual to read and asked Wu Lingyu to give her some pointers. She told him about the process of refining the materials, and he immediately pointed out where she was lacking. Sima Yue heard what he said and was instantly enlightened, as if there was a qualitative improvement. She tried according to what he said and indeed, the purity increased by a lot. How do you know everything? What was in your head in the past? She held his face with both hands and looked left and right, as if she wanted to pry open his head to take a look. Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand. I was born with it, you can't be envious. Two faint red marks were printed on her fair face. She calmly retracted her hand. Sorry, my hand slipped. Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand that she wanted to retract and smiled. Did your hand slip? He rubbed it on his face and said. And it's indeed very slippery. Sima Yue blushed. This guy was really a hooligan when he wasn't serious. Outside the room, Yin Lang stood in the corridor with a lonely expression. It had been so long and they hadn't come out since they went in. He thought he knew what would happen between the two of them. In the distance, Yang Shi and the other two's gazes were filled with viciousness. However, one was because of Yin Lang and the other two were because of Wu Lingyu. Looks like we really have to get rid of her quickly, Feng Qi said hatefully. I think so too. We don't have to wait until the ancient mining area. For the first time, Li Yao felt that her existence was too much of an eyesore. If we don't go to the ancient mining area, do you have the confidence to kill her without them knowing? Yang Shi sneered. Since you like that man, don't leave a bad impression in his heart. The ancient mining area can easily take someone's life. If anything happens to her, it won't be pushed to us. All right then, we'll let her live for 2 more days. The 32nd state and the 64th state were a little far away. They stayed on the spatial ship for a month before arriving. When the ship was about to stop, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu came out of the room. Yin Lang immediately noticed that she had changed her clothes. Because spirit masters usually avoided dust, their clothes wouldn't get dirty even if they wore them for a long time. Usually they might change more frequently, but when they were outside and inconvenient, they wouldn't change. She actually changed her clothes in the room with the man. Li Yao also noticed it, so her gaze became even deeper, and the hatred in her eyes became even more profound. Wu Lingyu had a very comfortable feeling. Seeing him, her heart finally felt like it had found a home. She knew that this could be due to the Sage Pavilion's techniques, but she couldn't help but fall in love with him after seeing him once. Sima Yue and the other two handed the room number to the beautiful crew members on the deck, and walked down the spatial ship. Yang Shi and the others immediately chased after them. We don't like outsiders. Wu Lingyu said lightly, then pulled Sima Yue and left without looking back. Yang Shi and the others were stunned. They hadn't even said anything and they were rejected? It must have been instigated by this little slut. This time they definitely wouldn't let her off. The 3 of them had this thought at the same time. It had to be said that only birds of a feather could walk together. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.